Well, welcome back to Gabbing Geek, the weekly podcast where we talk about movies and comic books and movies about comic books and TV and fantasy and science fiction and games and all things geeky. This is episode 5, and my name
Nope.
is...
Whoa. No, you don't get to say your name.
You're right. I forgot. It's episode 5.
This
Odd
is an odd
number.
episode.
I do not say my name on odd numbers, so you're absolutely right. I am just the nameless one.
Right.
Yes, but this is episode 5. You can quote me on that. And with me, as always, is Jenny Kicked Out Newman.
That's right. I'm back.
Yeah.
Better than ever.
On
Showered.
probation.
Oh,
On
probation. Give me a break.
Double secret.
No.
Probation.
You guys missed me.
What?
When I was in that cone of silence, you really did miss me.
Well, I wouldn't, I mean,
did.
that's just
No?
because we have horrible aim. And
Yeah.
that's not, yeah.
I felt like I got at least 33% more talk time in that segment.
You may
Which is
have.
hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard, infinite plus 33
Exactly.
is, that's a lot. And also with me is William Kicked Glass Watson.
That's right. That's right.
That was a nice moment where that's how dedicated we are to this podcast. When William kicked over that glass of water and ice, we just left it there.
That's right. In the floor.
Yeah.
Does
yeah.
anybody actually know that happened? I mean,
We had a passing reference to it, but that's okay.
Our very astute listeners would know. The real ones that are picking out the nuance of the podcast.
and how dangerous that glass of water could have been.
Yeah, but it'll be a great trivia question. What episode had the kicked water? It was episode 4. But we are in episode 5, and so as always, let's kick off this episode with our GNOW, or geekiest news of the week, where we each pick a story in the geek world and we talk about it to death. But seeing the list, Jenny, you had such a fascinating one and a topic we've never addressed before. So tell us, what is your GNOW this week?
My GNOW is about dinos, or dinosaurs.
Dino GNOW.
Dino GNOW!
Now, you're not speaking of the dinosaurs from the Transformer 4 film.
No. Oh, gosh. But I do love the Dinobots. I mean, you're making a joke. I love the Dinobots.
The real
Not
Dinobots.
in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't seen the movie,
I've
have you?
seen the movie.
You saw Transformers 4?
I went
I
to
have
go see
too.
it, yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, I went to go
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
Listen,
We're
I'm
both going to have to go to the cone of silence now.
I'm just cone of shame. Maybe.
Okay, hold on.
I live in the cone of shame.
I'm a
every day
huge
of my
Dino
life.
fan. I was a huge Dinobots fan when I was like 9 years old, so I had to see it. I had to see them in action.
Okay.
I paid money to go see
And
it.
did you walk out feeling a bit violated?
Not as bad, because it has good eye candy. I mean, Mark Wahlberg, guys. For any girl, that's a good time.
Why is that the
He's
point?
an
For any
inventor.
girl.
Mike Wahlberg, guys. Yeah. We're looking for that eye candy.
For somebody like me, it was a nice, well done movie with Mark Wahlberg and Dinobots.
Okay, Jenny, that was great. Thank you for your GNOW.
Get out of here. All right, no, seriously. So, here I was kind of scouring what was happening in the world today. And I noticed in a lot of the the news streams, there was a story about Dreadnoughtus. I don't know if you've heard Dreadnoughtus yet, but it was...
Wasn't that the group that hung out with Zartan and G.I. Joe?
No, that was a class of starships in Star Trek, the role-playing game.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of firepower.
Yes, yeah. So Super Dreadnoughtus, that is now linked to Optimus Prime, but not really. So Dreadnoughtus actually means fear nothing.
Did you just spoil Transformers 4 because I haven't seen it?
No,
I don't know.
no.
You said something about
I
Optimus,
think that
so-
was spoiled long before.
It was.
Okay.
It was.
No, so this humongous, the biggest dinosaur, more or less, has been found ever, and this was found back on September 4th. It was found in southern Patagonia in Argentina, and it is one of the most exceptionally complete skeleton remains that they have found ever as well. So like
3 bones.
yeah, more like 45% actually.
Wow.
No,
Wow, that's not bad.
which is
No,
weird.
that's good.
Now, when you figure that you mirror everything on the other side, it's more like having a 70% complete skeletal structure.
That's
So-
math right there. Jenny just dropped some math.
Did you just double 45 into 70%?
I did
It wasn't
No.
good math.
No.
It wasn't good math.
But it was math.
Yeah, it was.
Kind of.
It is kind of sad that I didn't catch that mistake either.
You guys are terrible. I just came off of vacation. Leave me alone. No, but okay, so they found this humongous complete dinosaur that they deemed the name Dreadnoughtus. So Dreadnoughtus Serrani, more or less. And it means fear
Did
nothing.
they just give it the name?
They did
I'm
just
kind
give
of
it the
surprised
name.
they didn't name it Khaleesi, just because it seems like everything geeky is named that these days.
It
So,
should have been.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah, it should have
Dreadnoughtus
been.
Khaleesi. I mean, come on. we would see that.
So this dinosaur, because it's so big, they started to kind of compare. Well, how big is this thing, right? It's bigger than a Boeing airplane, right? It weighs more than 85 tons, or at least what they thought would be, or not 85 tons, excuse me, 85,000 tons. It's also 80.
That's more.
That's
more.
It basically more or less.
By Jenny's math, that's like 300 times more.
Yeah.
I never claimed to be a math
7.
scholar. It's also 80 feet long. So when you start to compare kind of apples to apples, it would take 7 T-Rexes to duplicate this now Dreadnoughtus. And what's even more funny to me is that this big behemoth is an herbivore. It only eats veggies.
Wow, yeah. I was trying to see. I looked it up, but I
what's
couldn't see
funny
what it
to
was
me
eating.
is having 7 T-Rexes trying to climb up with their tiny little arms in order to equal this one other. I mean, they just couldn't do it.
That would be a very funny pyramid to watch them build.
Yeah, because they couldn't even climb up.
Like everybody put your arms next to your waist and then try to move your arms around.
Man, if only we could have invented a ladder.
So I thought that this was actually really cool. Like, my mom used to take me to museums all the time. The reason why I'm so into this is because I had this really healthy obsession with dinosaurs, where we got to go to archaeological dig sites that were close nearby for us to kind of brush away some of the sand and look at the bones. We would go to museums and learn all about the different types of dinosaurs and what was out there. What's an herbivore? What's a carnivore? And so this was kind of near and dear to my heart. I'm like, oh, my mom, I bet she would love this, because I'm sitting here like going, oh, this is awesome. Too bad that wasn't in Jurassic Park, right? Because that would have been awesome.
Well, hey, Jurassic World.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
Who knows what
true.
we'll
That's
see.
true. So maybe we'll get some amazing Dreadnoughtus in that movie.
It is a good name.
Yeah. So very cool to me that they found this and that they're able to document it. And what I did see in one of the videos online is that they have this new system to laser copy all of the bones. So now they're making basically these digital copies of everything that they're going to send all over the world for people
3D
to be able to
printers.
view.
Yeah.
So
need
no
a
longer do
dinosaur
they
3D
have to
printer.
move.
Yeah.
I'll
I got one in the garage. I'll give you my extra.
Oh,
okay?
good.
So
Fine.
basically, what I'm hearing here is a lot of museums as a kid.
Yep.
Science, not math, apparently.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Who counts these days? Who counts when you have a calculator?
Yeah, that's what the calculator's for. Why are you trying to take jobs away from calculators, William?
The more we see these, it seems like there's a lot of giant dinosaurs that have been discovered.
Wait, when?
No.
This is like the biggest one ever.
I
What are you
know,
talking
but like
about?
before that, I mean, obviously this is bigger than something else, and that was bigger. But the Tyrannosaurus Rex, I mean, that's king of the lizards. It's starting to not look so kingly, right? I mean,
It's not,
because you compare the
comparatively.
size of this one to the 7. I mean, it's 7 of them, all with their little wavy arms, and they're not looking so big anymore,
No.
right? I mean, are they scary anymore? I mean, that was
Yes.
not to me. I'm not afraid of any bones.
Drive faster.
Facing a T-Rex, yes. Still scary.
I
Absolutely.
faced one in the Houston Museum of Natural
It
History.
was
I
dead.
won.
It was dead.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
That's-
If a lizard comes into my house, I'm scared. Yeah. T-Rex, very scary.
That was Jenny with that little squeal.
That was not Jenny.
I still refuse to get insurance through Geico because of that lizard. It's I don't care about saving 15% or more. But since you're a dinosaur-admitted geek,
I
mean,
love
when we were
dinos.
growing up, the biggest dinosaur was the Brontosaurus. Where
Yes.
does that rank now?
It is now like 3rd or 4th on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Compared
Wow.
to
Yeah.
Dreadnoughtus.
All right, so it's
Right.
still up there.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty big
all right.
comparatively.
It's a good
And
story.
I hear they make great burgers.
well,
Brontosaurus burger.
That's
Oh, do not.
That's a Flintstone reference.
Oh, I
listen,
didn't
I
watch
just
that
hope
cartoon.
that someday we can move beyond
That cartoon was too dumb
having
for
the
me.
size of the dinosaur matter and really what's in it
It-
that counts. It's their
It's
character.
the motion of the whatever.
Of the tail. There we go.
Great documentary I saw recently, though. I recommend if you're a dinosaur junkie. It's
I am.
Dinosaur 13. It's
You were just telling me that I have never seen this.
yeah,
How
I was
have
telling
not
you that
seen
before we
this?
started
I
recording, so
know.
it doesn't count because the listeners weren't listening.
No, I
What,
know,
they
but I
weren't?
can't.
Oh yeah, no, they were. I've been recording for
Where have
days.
you guys
Oh, okay,
been?
yeah. So basically, it's about the discovery of Sue, the largest and most complete Tyrannosaurus ever.
See, and this is why I don't like
wait.
this. How did they know her name? That's
Yeah.
just
No,
ridiculous.
she had a "Hello, my name is Sue" on one of the bones.
and that's why I think it's
It's very
fake.
nice
Oh,
of her.
okay.
I
So
think it's fake.
that-
She was being nice.
That
and
is
you're-
answered in the documentary. The name.
Really?
Yes. And it's also about a legal battle over who owns dinosaur bones dug out of the ground, criminal prosecution.
Like, period, like in general?
in
Like,
general, well, Well, yeah, I mean, because it had never been really kind of contemplated before,
Sure.
and I mean, it will anger you. It's about the people who found it, how incredibly screwed over they got by the U.S. government and the landowner that had given them the rights to dig it out and had taken money for it. For
Where
them to
was
own.
it, by the way?
South Dakota.
Oh, okay. Here in the
And
States.
now it's in the Fields Museum in Chicago.
See, in Argentina, they don't care. They're just happy to
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
get these
Argentina.
bones out of here.
That's a whole different story. If you can get out of the country, you're done.
They did.
We found most of our dinosaurs in South Dakota, right? North Dakota as well. I mean,
Here in the
Dakotas.
States?
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
U.S. or
Yeah,
kind of
that's
central
right.
north. Yeah,
No, I mean, that, and to me, that's
There's
my,
a lot in New Mexico as well.
Well, see, now my theory. I know we have this theory of the asteroid that hit, right, and caused the winter or flowers or whatever.
But spoilers, the Transformers have a different answer.
They have a different. Well, see, my personal theory is that all these dinosaurs moved to the Dakotas and just died of boredom.
Maybe.
I mean,
That's
because
true.
if you've
True
been
stuff.
there,
True stuff. Yeah.
that's a place you're just
I
going to
think
die off.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
That's a great theory.
I think the Tyrannosaurus had an itch on his back and he couldn't scratch it because of his little arms.
That would be killer.
Yeah,
that really
yeah,
would.
that was awful.
He wouldn't just ask, like, phone a friend. Hey, I need some help.
I mean,
buddy."
I don't think the other guy could scratch it, and everybody else was scared of the Tyrannosaurus.
He wanted to, but no one had a name tag.
That's
so
true.
You couldn't really ask.
He felt very awkward. He
Yeah.
felt very awkward.
Yeah, so it's roughed up. Well, that's
Oh.
good. Bigger dinosaurs. All right, Mr. Watson, what is your GNOW?
Okay, so obviously, one of my big geek focuses is keeping track of all the superhero information that's coming out in movies, and we had a big.
That's tough. That's tough these days.
I'm that good though. I'm that good.
Wow.
We had a big piece of news break this week after teasing it for months on end.
Way too long.
Way too long. It was finally announced that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, will be playing Black Adam in the Captain Marvel Shazam adaptation. And so, I think this one's a little interesting, right? Because he picked the villain, right? So if you're going to build a franchise, I mean, he's a pretty big star. I mean, he comes in and
Has he had any huge hits? He's known.
he comes in to save damaged franchises, right?
Has
No,
to save
no,
the
he
damaged
doesn't.
franchise.
Are you kidding
what's
me?
the crazy car racing movie that you like, Fast and Furious? He came in and
He didn't
he
save
did
that
not save
franchise.
that
Nobody's
franchise
watching
cannot be
those
saved 'cause
movies
it's terrible.
anymore.
What? No, we're all watching those.
Nobody's
movies.
I've
watching
never
those
seen
movies.
one,
I've
Well,
seen one.
Look,
I've seen
and
one.
I like movies. I think we've all
You
established
guys
that.
can look at the numbers on those. Those movies are very
I have seen
successful.
Are they
70
really?
movies
That's
this year.
unreal.
Oh, no, I know it's successful. So is the Transformers movie, and we all think that's terrible, except
Hey,
for Jenny, who loved it.
I love the Dinobots. Give me a break.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that opens up. I mean, yes. I mean, obviously he is perfect to play Black Adam. I mean, he is. But I mean, I would have wanted to be the hero because I think he kind of had a choice. I think that he could have chosen
After the Tooth Fairy, I think it's a good move.
yeah. Okay, I have nowhere to come back from that. I don't know.
But the Tooth Fairy was so evil in that
Oh,
movie.
yeah, I'm sure.
So it really came down to
Yeah. I mean, his great villain turn as the Scorpion King back in the Mummy franchise.
He was in the Mummy franchise?
He was the Scorpion King,
I
and he had a
didn't watch that
spinoff
either.
called the
Scorpion
King. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So who now? Okay, so assuming, as of this recording, it's just playing Black Adam. Assuming that he doesn't take both roles. There's been some talk that he could actually be double cast, as they look the same. They're two sides of the same coin. Assuming that doesn't go out, who do you cast to be the physical and charismatic presence of Captain Marvel Shazam to go counter The Rock? That's going to be tough. Because
Wait, Captain Marvel as in Captain Marvel dude or Captain Marvel Carol Danvers?
Shazam.
Just Shazam. They can no longer call him Captain
Well, they
Marvel.
never could. They
right?
could call him that, but they can't use it in the titles.
But, I mean, they've given it up.
They've given
Okay,
it
so
up.
Carol Danvers
Shazam.
is out of the
No,
picture
we're talking
here.
DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shazam.
All right.
Shazam. Who plays opposite? I don't care. You know what I mean? Like they get another.
That's the commentary that you can come to expect from Gabbing Geek.
Well, no, that's the thing.
Look
like,
at Wikipedia, and I don't care.
it's gonna be someone. It'll be an unknown name because they just cast this big name and they don't need a second one on the other side. So and plus they'll need to save the money at this point because they're gonna have a lot in special effects. So to me, it doesn't matter. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Honestly, we're gonna have to wait and see how Dwayne Johnson responds to this or how he performs as well because he's hit and miss.
He'll be.
He
but
kind
he's
of is
more
hit and
miss
miss.
than hit.
But most of that's
Yeah.
based on the script and the
Wait.
property, and he'll be fine. He
Can we
will
go
not be
back to
the problem
Shazam?
with that.
Can we go back to Shazam? Like, give me a visual of what Shazam should look like.
Big Fred McMurray
At this
is
point,
from,
should look like Dwayne Johnson.
yeah.
So Shazam
Bill
should have been him, is what you're saying.
I mean,
No,
but
no.
Black Adam and Shazam kind of look very similar.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they look like. It matters that they're equal because they both get their powers from the exact same source.
Oh, they do?
Both
Yeah.
big hulking
Okay.
guys. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
the red with the lightning bolt. I mean, come on, Jenny, we can't carry you this much.
I know. I'm sorry today. Today is a bad day.
Have you not read Kingdom Come?
No.
Oh, blind spot and a half. She's never read Kingdom Come.
Wait, is this DC?
Yes.
I've already admitted
She
that
did,
I
yeah.
am not a DC fan. That I just started Batman. Give me a break.
This is a good point.
Yeah.
I
we
just
we
started
talked about
Batman.
this last week.
Yeah.
And the week before. And
Right. I think everybody
Kingdom
knows
Come,
that
though. I mean, that's-
DC is not my strong suit.
But they get their powers from the same source, so they've always had the same body type. And I know that there was
That's
the
it?
talk about both of them playing, or someone playing both
And the
roles,
rivals?
But honestly, they've never looked identical. If
It would take a little bit of a retcon.
Bad artists, right? Just not differentiating. But they've always been different characters. But I like him
Dave
playing
Bautista
Black Adam.
type?
What's that?
Like Dave Bautista, who's
It could be, except although he's
Well,
taken.
yeah, I know he's
exactly.
taken.
But really, just anyone with that similar body type is going to be fine, or just getting close to it, and they can beef it up in CGI, right? But here's the thing that I like him playing Black Adam is, one, we still don't know if they're going to do Shazam with Billy Batson, right? With a small boy who
I
utters the
assume
magic
they will.
word.
I don't see they change that.
But they might because of this, right? And also because
Well, if they were going to do that, he would have played Captain Marvel. I think that's the reason he didn't want to play Captain Marvel, because he's off screen half the time.
Exactly. If they do a Billy Batson, then there's a boy there half the time, which is kind of half the fun, in that you've got a boy being this super powerful man, right? And so he's got the physical abilities. It's like Big with superpowers.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down
It's
to.
childhood escapism.
But what I also like is Black Adam actually has some of the best stories in the DC universe, I think, in terms of some of his spin-off series and some of his own comic runs. There was even a great series just a few years ago where finally the whole Shazam family, because there's a whole family of them, right? There's not just Captain Marvel, but there was Miss Marvel.
There was a
and
rabbit
Dog
involved
Marvel.
at one point.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them. They all banded together, and they, do you know Shazam's kind of origin, where it's this
I know nothing.
So it's a
So,
boy.
like,
He's given powers by a wizard, and he's given a magic word. And his magic word is Shazam.
Got
and
it.
when he says it, lightning comes down and turns him
Wait,
into
was it
Superman.
Shaq Shazam at
That's
one
Kazam.
That's Shazam. Someone
Jenny?
else, yeah.
Jenny?
Yeah.
All right, Ryan.
need
So
to keep
anyway,
those
Ryan.
So Black Adam also, he was given powers
So close.
so much earlier, and he had his own magic word, right? And he would turn, but then he turned evil, and so that's why Shazam was given powers in order to fight him, among other things. But there was a storyline several years ago where the Marvel family got together and, through casting very awesome magic, changed his magic word without telling Black Adam, and then took his powers away, right? So they couldn't really take away his ability to ever change back into Black Adam and get those powers, but now he doesn't know the word to get it.
They changed his password.
And and
Yeah.
there was a fantastic series.
and then
talking
hacked his
about that.
account for some nude
This is
pictures.
hilarious.
So Black Adam has become
Jennifer
one of the
Lawrence
more
doesn't
interesting
appreciate
ones.
that.
He has become like the king of a country. He has like played around with politics. He's had his powers taken away.
So you see a spin-off potential for The Rock
I see
if it goes
huge
well.
spin-off potential. I also like the story that they announced that Warner Brothers is not doing the Shazam movie. It's going to be a New Line. New Line, I think.
A subsidiary.
Yeah, so it's not part of the DC universe, and not part of the mainstream, which I find fascinating, right? Because they've just taken this first step, and they've announced 10 movies, and as we know,
All the
like every
connection
single
pieces,
superhero seems
yeah.
to be in the next Batman versus Superman,
Yeah.
but it won't be Shazam. He's going to be in his own. And
Maybe Shazam and Aquaman can get
No,
together.
hey. Do you think it's because of tone, right? Do you think, obviously we saw a week or so ago that it's almost like a no-joke policy for the DC movies, very serious and not campy.
Well, they said that was
So
taken
how,
out of context.
but still, this one would probably be much lighter than anything, even with jokes.
I think if you keep the Billy Batson and
Sure.
Shazam thing, then absolutely there's going to be jokes going on.
So, how campy do you go, right? Because that's a very campy property.
Not-
literally
not
there
too
was, there was a
campy. I'm
rabbit. There was
like-
a rabbit that was a superhero.
You're looking
They're
at
not
someone who
going
does
there,
not know the story, so I'll come at it from that perspective. If it's too campy, then it's going to be a joke, and I won't go watch another one. It needs to have a little bit of substance to it.
Yeah.
Remember when we were talking about Ant-Man, and it's going to have a little bit of humor in there and a little bit of seriousness?
Yeah.
I kind of want a good mix. Like, make it a good story and definitely have humor. And I hate to say it, but replicate what Guardians of the Galaxy did.
Yeah, that's what I was
And
gonna ask,
that's
what is the
going to
comp
be a
film?
really good movie. And then you're going to get more people like myself who doesn't know the story to come in and then maybe follow it along. And maybe take it a step further and actually go buy the comic,
Yeah.
I needed to go down that road.
So
I don't need it to be too campy. Like Caddyshack campy? No, that's going to turn me off completely.
One of our listeners, Lou Rosen, says campy kind of comes with the territory of Captain Marvel, and I think that you can have
Captain Marvel?
Shazam.
Oh
Shazam.
God, sorry, this is so confusing.
And
Me and
that's
Carol
why they don't
Danvers.
use it
That's why they don't
anymore.
use it. Yeah, it's a trademark issue. But so I mean, I think that you can have a little bit of lightheartedness. I think that you want to avoid like the Spy Kids and Shark Boy, Lava Girl. Because I think this is primarily a movie for all ages, not children, but for all ages, right?
Yeah.
But I think that kind of the sweet spot you look for is kind of like maybe the early Harry Potter movies, right? It was definitely targeted at children, had a little of the substance like Jenny had. Chris Columbus wouldn't be a bad director for it.
I think that I think Guardians is a great cue, and especially since it did so well, right? We should have talked about that, man. That would have been a great
that would have been a great topic.
But I think that if you were to combine that and kind of morph it halfway to Man of Steel, that's a great place for Shazam to fit in, right? Like one of the things that I really liked Man of Steel, but it got blasted by a lot of people for the changes that they made to Superman and also just the very dark tone of it, right? Like the battle
People were
scenes at the
complaining
end.
about that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I guess I didn't read those. No.
So I think
I loved it.
somewhere in between would be fun because you've got the realistic element of Shazam is as powerful as Superman. Like in the books, that's one of the notions. Like he's kind of the only guy that could take on Superman, at least from the good guy perspective.
You would know this if you had read Kingdom Come,
or just any Shazam book. But we'll address those. We're expanding geek, but we haven't got that far yet.
Not far.
Let me get through Batman.
Exactly. Let's get into Batman first. But but I think that with some humor, and if you kept the Billy Batson stuff, that's pretty easy to do. That would be a lot of fun to see.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, let's move on then to My GNOW. And My GNOW is a story that it struck me as just so fascinating, even though I don't watch Walking Dead. My GNOW is about the fact that AMC has ordered a pilot for a companion series.
Yeah.
And it's called a companion series, even though they don't have a name, and not a spin-off, because it's not like they're going to take one of the characters from The Walking Dead and just launch a whole new TV series. Instead, they're going to have a whole new series taking place in the world of Walking Dead, but in a completely different area. Right? And that's whenever there's a zombie outbreak, it's just kind of assumed that the entire world is overrun. And, of course, different places have different stories that how it happened. But
other
this is
than
gonna be the first
Atlanta,
chance,
right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, starting in Atlanta, at least like I said, I haven't watched the TV show, but in the book, it has gone from Atlanta up to DC, kind of all along the seaboard. The video games, which have kind of crossed over a little bit, also covered Savannah and a little bit more of those areas. So we don't know if it's going to be somewhere close, like Florida, which would have its own very unique telling on zombie stories. I think we could all imagine that. Or if it's going to go just on the West Coast. I mean, who
I would
knows?
love that, yeah.
But I love this idea of having something else in this zombie world because to me that's what I love about Walking Dead. And the other thing, and from a selfish perspective, I am much more interested in watching that than I am The Walking Dead.
Why is that?
And as much accolades as The Walking Dead has received, and you've mentioned we had that talk in I think the very first episode, right, about Daryl and everything. To me, it's that I'm going to be watching it and always comparing it to the comic because I love the comic. It's one of the very few books that I still read every single month that it comes out.
I understand that.
So I feel like I know
you need
where
something
it's
that's going to branch off so that you can enjoy it as a casual viewer
Yeah.
in a universe that you don't know yet.
Yeah, and I would like to be involved in it. It's also, to me, similar to Game of Thrones, right? Like, having read all of the books, if I'm watching the TV show, the only thing I'm looking for is what they changed.
Yeah,
what they left out,
right.
What they slightly tweaked.
Yeah.
There's only been about 2 little things that are different from the books, or new from the books, I should say.
Substantially different, anyway.
Well, at least hinting at it. I wouldn't say substantially even, because we don't know.
You talking in the Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
or?
the Game of Thrones, yeah.
I like that you brought this up because I think the one thing that drew me into The Walking Dead in the first place was the survival story that they had. Right? That was actually really interesting to me, and that's what hooked me in, period. It wasn't necessarily the characters. It was, what are you going to do now that you don't have water, you don't have electricity, you have no idea where you're going to get your food, and you always have to be on the move because there is a constant threat around you.
Yeah.
And seeing other people deal with that in different locations would be nice because, the United States is very diverse. There's lots of different issues and different populated areas and different circumstances that may pop up because of where they are just geographically. And also population-wise. So I would love to see just what's happening, in the rest of the world for that matter. I mean, imagine what's happening in India at this point.
How is this not just another zombie series?
Why not, though?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, it's basically we'll just have 2 zombie series on television, right?
And
that's fine.
okay.
I kind of with you. I mean, like, the zombie series I always wanted to see, or at least a video game or anything, movie, was everybody always assumes that it's going to be like Walking Dead, where you're constantly on the move. The zombies are, but I mean, if it's not those fast-moving zombies, if it's the kind of the Ramiro zombies, which I think populate the.
So everyone but 28 Days Later.
Yeah,
And,
no,
and World War Z.
And World War.
Oh yeah, the movie World War Z.
Yeah.
In the book,
Yeah,
they're
they
not
were
the
slow
runners.
movies.
They're not runners.
Great book, by the way.
Didn't read that.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, what also?
Not a good book.
What was the update of Dawn of the Dead? They were fast movers.
Were they? No, they
I didn't
weren't.
see that up
Yeah.
there.
The
They were
one
runners.
with the guy who did Man of Steel. What's his name? Zack Snyder. He did fast moving zombies.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, like the modern trend is to make them fast moving, but the slow ones, you should never get killed by a slow moving zombie, right? It takes somebody doing something. And that's kind of the reason I kind of got away from reading the book is like you have to do something so stupid. I mean, I know you're fatigued and tired, and maybe you'll do something stupid then, but
I think it's the element
I'll
of
go in this
surprise,
dark
though.
room where the zombies are
Hold
supposed
on.
to be. Yeah, okay, that's probably a bad idea.
It's the element of surprise. They've done like Walking Dead did a really good job. It's that you just don't know where they are, and sometimes you don't hear them coming. And so when you have this element of surprise, they're locked in a closet, kind of going dormant, or they're sneaking up on you more or less, in the woods.
So don't go in the woods.
Well, they don't have any choice. They got to, hunt
so that's
for
the
deer
series
and
I want to
squirrels
see, though.
and
Is
who
I
knows
mean,
what.
I think that the first thing you do if you have slow-moving zombies is you get like the prison was actually interesting to me. The prison arc
Where they stayed in
where you basically
spot.
get in a fence in the middle of a field and you can see them coming for miles. And you just pick them off, right? Or you dig trenches and they fall into them and you burn them. I mean,
Well, what happens when a horde comes?
well, that's what you have the trenches. You know, I mean,
Well, there's right. There's only so much that they can do without changing the rules and impacting the other show, right? There's certainly that.
No. They could just be smarter than our heroes in this show.
Well, but this is something I was thinking about in terms of there being another show. Whenever we see a zombie outbreak story, we are always seeing it from the perspective of people trapped in the middle of it. Right now, World War Z was the first zombie movie, at least, or kind of visual representation of a zombie story, where it hit so many different areas at the same time.
And quickly.
And
They
we
showed
could,
how
right?
quickly it
But
spread.
certainly in everything else, it's always small. In Walking Dead, right, we have Rick in the TV show and in the comic waking up and it's already kind of happened. And then he's stuck in the middle of it, right? But this would be interesting. What if this new show, this companion show, was on the West Coast and they all saw it happen on the East Coast?
Oh, and
actually,
it's coming towards them.
contained
and they got
in the
prepared
East
for
Coast.
it. And then,
Oh!
that's the series I want to
What
see.
a great
Wouldn't that
idea.
be interesting
That
for
is a
like
great idea.
a month or so.
They have time to defend.
They really can prepare. They can really stock supplies. They know it's coming. They
Hold
know
on.
they can't prevent it.
But how does that make that interesting? Because all we're seeing are people living their normal lives going, look at those poor schmucks.
well,
No. They'll get to them eventually. The
But-
zombies will
and-
get there.
And also, one of the things, and I'm not sure you guys can tell me if this is true in the movies or in the TV show as well as in the books, but in the Walking Dead comic, whatever has created these zombies, it's not just if you're bit by one, but now anyone who dies
That's correct.
becomes a zombie.
Yes.
Okay.
that is correct.
So there's another way that it could come is that they could at least have it
Something has
happened on the East
happened,
Coast where
right.
it ran out, right, and they weren't able to contain it. But on the West Coast, maybe they were able to contain it. But they still
Or
have
they
little
burn their dead. They know to burn their dead.
Or they have
something.
little outbreaks as opposed to massive outbreaks that just take out whole cities, right? So every once in a while, they've just lost that square block or that building.
Okay, I like where you're going, but like a part of me would be really upset knowing that the West Coast, let's say, is having a good old time and has had time to figure it out, and they're not going to help those.
Well,
Maybe
that
that's the
are in.
crossover, right? That's the like maybe the action is not in the city.
They know that all these people are suffering.
It could be like
they're just
a
like, too bad.
Or they
Battlestar
can't fix it yet.
Galactica sort of
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica sort of thing where like one day it's about
Shoot.
about
Blind spot.
no, but what we talked about, remember, is like, one day it's a political thriller, one day it's a murder mystery. All of this happens in this space, and the real action happens. They have teams that go out to try to help people, bring them back in.
And you could have massive political conflict in that there would be a group that would entirely be saying, we need to go save the East Coast, and another group saying,
People,
we need to make sure we're safe before we do that.
Got
And
it.
you know
People
what?
that
They're both right.
they're split on
They're
two
both right.
sides.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I gotcha.
So,
And if they had it on HBO, there could be nudity.
well, it's not going to HBO.
Get out of here with that.
And really, I don't think we need zombie nudity.
We
just
do
yet.
not.
So-
No, nobody needs to see that.
But I think we'll all be interested to see, what
When did they
what
say
do.
this was coming?
All they said was that they'd ordered the pilot.
Oh,
given
really?
the announcement now, although it's AMC, so they could do it whenever. But I expect we would hear more news about it in the spring. That tends to be pilot season anyway. So who knows what direction they'll go?
Cool.
Who knows what they'll take?
I may
just
watch
very
this one.
exciting.
I
This
may
is good
watch
to
this
know.
TV series if it's the Ryan Garcia produced
we will
version.
have to keep.
Oh
our
my gosh!
Whoever
listeners
that
Are
guy
you? Wait,
is.
I guess I've forgotten. You are not watching The Walking Dead. You're not.
I've watched
watching
one
this.
episode.
Well, he doesn't watch any TV.
I
and
know
I
he
don't
doesn't watch
Walking Dead.
TV, and I know you don't. But I
I've
thought
seen
that you and I
70
had connected.
No,
No.
I've seen 70 movies this year,
This
so I don't have
makes me so
time for
angry.
your silly television.
Can we
So-
can we please have our listeners just write in and tell Watson he needs to start watching The Walking
We
Dead?
need to have
This is
We'll have a
ridiculous.
chat about
Yeah,
that another
intervention.
time. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that was a fantastic GNOW. Such geeky news this week. Let's move on to the next segment, and this is a continuation because this was bold, this was innovative, this was groundbreaking, and it
Critically
deserves to
acclaimed,
continue.
too.
It
Critically
really,
acclaimed.
It really is critically acclaimed, and at least one person has emailed us and said, "Please continue." So, so we will, and that is the epic chess battle that Jenny and I are having.
That's right.
And so
Prepare yourself.
We already have had the first half move, and so Jenny, it's your move.
Here we go.
Bated breath.
Pawn to E5.
Oh,
Got it.
nice.
Do something with that, Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to our next segment. This is a brand new segment for us, and this is something we are calling fantasy franchises. And in this segment, we are imagining creating a movie that involves a character, or at least in one case, because someone decided not to follow the rules. And I'm not
Okay.
saying who it is, except it wasn't Jenny or myself.
Nice going,
It was
Watson.
supposed to be to take a character from two franchises and imagine them crossing over and what that scenario would be and what that would look like. But since I've already said basically how you just win it with your own rules here for this one, why don't you kick off? Tell us what your fantasy franchise is, and then we'll see how the game should have been played.
I will.
by the
So
others.
so you guys
By
went
the
with
experts.
2. I went with 6, and according to Jenny, that's 14 times too many.
My math works.
This all adds up. This all adds up.
Exponential
So
awesomeness.
this is actually something that me and my sons have been doing for a long time. And I think I may have misnoted last week when I said that my sons would do something and 5 kids were piling around it. I was including other children. I only have 2 children. I don't have a herd.
I just figured you had Jenny count.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. Oh, well played.
so awful.
So I think that superhero movies or franchises are like very in vogue right now, which is great for me
Yes.
because I have been a fan
Yes.
of superheroes my
Very true.
entire life. I wanted to build out a new superhero team like the Justice League, X-Men, or Avengers, but using characters who are not superheroes, who are not part of a superhero genre, to make a comparable team. And I think that you can, because I think that these archetypes that we look for in our superhero teams exist in other forms of geek media, and that you can take them and just pull them out, and it's almost as if they were created simply to be a comic book superhero. Just give them a mask, give them a cape, and you got it. So here is my team, right? So every team in the Avengers, X-Men, Justice League have had kind of these standard archetypes, and so my first one is the Tank, right? So the Tank is the big, strong, brooding guy. An example of that in comic book superheroes is the Hulk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am proposing that we put in Caesar from the Planet of the Apes movies. Intelligent, strong.
From the new movies.
From the new movies, yes. I mean, I don't
Okay.
think that Caesar was in the old movies, was he?
Yeah, there was a Caesar in the old movies.
Oh, really? Wow.
You haven't seen
Have
the
you
old
watched the
movies?
old
I
movies?
have. I've seen them. I just thought.
They're
I know
movies,
Charlton
by the
Heston.
way. So you
I've
can
seen-
watch them.
I've seen the ones like where they go back in time. I've seen all of them except for the Mark Wahlberg movie because I don't like him.
Apparently,
Hey,
the ones
I
with
have
Caesar.
actually seen that one, and you know why? Mark
Wahlberg. Yeah. Okay. So Caesar is your big, strong guy, right? But then you got to have a human warrior. Apparently, in every Captain America, Batman. I'm bringing in James Bond. He's smart.
Okay.
He's kind of a detective sort of thing. He brings that to the table,
The
right?
Daniel Craig version.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh,
absolutely.
Daniel
Just making
Craig
sure.
version.
Yeah. I mean,
I like you. You don't know Pierce Brosnan, no?
in a
No
pinch.
Sean Connery.
It's
No
most-
Sean Connery.
I'm not a fan of Sean Connery. I mean,
What? And you were defending Sean Connery with The Last Crusade and all that other.
No, as Bond. I mean, I think Bond. I
Sean
mean,
Connery was
I
amazing
think
as
he's a
Bond.
rapist. Okay, I think that Bond is a rapist.
Oh.
Anyway, so then
no.
you have to have.
We don't condone that.
No.
No,
We don't.
That goes on the list.
Yeah. We got a list going. Okay, I mean, no baby punching.
No killing.
No baby
No,
killing.
no.
Just
Or
rely-
punching.
I mean,
Or punching.
Are we okay with punching, Jenny?
No.
And just for liability reasons, you're saying alleged rapist. You're not because he's not been convicted of anything
Right.
Okay.
in fiction or not. So.
Okay. I'm not talking about Mr. Sean Connery. I am not speaking of you. I liked you in Untouchables, and you deserve that Oscar for sure. So, okay, then you have to have your Sorcerer Supreme, right?
Okay.
Like your Dr. Fate, your Doctor Strange, your mystical character. because I could go Harry Potter, but for Jenny, I'm going Hermione.
I saw that you picked Hermione, and and I wondered if you were pandering to the female.
I am pandering not to the female, just to you, Jenny, because I know Ryan's about to rip my decision to pieces. No.
I love Hermione, so I'm going to back you up on this. I love Hermione.
All right, so and then let me go back to the well one more time for Jenny. Then,
woo!
You got to have an archer, right? I don't know why.
Do.
A bow and arrow seems to be like such a weak weapon compared to everything else. But every team has.
I don't need an archer.
You do.
Hawkeye, Green Arrow. You have archers.
You do.
Don't need them.
I could have gone with Legolas. He's an elf.
I love Legolas.
He doesn't leave footprint. No, I went with Katniss. Katniss Everdeen.
That's right. Katniss Everdeen. That's a
so
good one.
my archer is Katniss Everdeen. Okay. Then you got to have a mental character, some kind of
brainer.
Kind of psychic, maybe telekinetic. Jean Grey comes to mind.
Yeah.
No. I went Luke Skywalker, and he's got a lightsaber.
Nice. Okay.
I'm sorry, Luke Skywalker is a superhero. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not denying that at all.
Okay. So when I was a kid, me and my brother used to buy each other Christmas presents, and we had to give a hint as to what it was. And I got him an Evel Knievel set, like action figure set. He got me one of the large, I think it was like the 1.5 foot dolls of
Luke Skywalker.
And my hint to him was, it's a stunt man. Because there was no other stuntman. He's like, oh, it's Evel Knievel, huh? And his hint to me was, is a superhero. And I was mad because he's just not a superhero. But later I realized my brother was ahead of his time. Luke Skywalker is, in fact, the perfect superhero.
Yeah.
Powers, weapons, costumes.
Ahead of his time.
Stuff. Okay, and then you kind of have to have a blaster. That's what they call it in the video games. It's like somebody with kind of distance powers, the ability to shoot something out of their hands.
Your DPS.
What's
person. Damage per second.
Yeah,
your height,
damage.
your heat
exactly.
damage.
The glass
to go
cannon.
truly up top.
The glass cannon.
All my Warcraft players out there was like DPS. Ranged.
Range. Well, I have the range with the archer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
they run forward, they draw aggro, they drop
so
dead.
Who is
Cyclops. I mean, Green Lantern probably a little beyond because he can manipulate. But I mean, so I went with Elsa from Frozen. I really went with her.
Was this pandering to me too?
No, this was to sass you because it's not
Anna. It's Anna.
Yeah, not her. So I want to take these
Elsa.
people. I don't want to.
What are they going to do? What are they doing together?
So I don't want to make them where they are new characters with the same. I want to pull them out of their universes. I'm not ignoring the fact that they're not from the same universe. Secret Wars. You mentioned that a couple episodes ago. This is a Secret Wars-esque premise where they're pulled from across the multiverse with their actual histories in place. So I mean, Elsa is a fictional character from Disney.
She's very kind.
Very well. Once you get through the icy facade, right?
You don't know
and they have to fight a villain team that's put together. Now, I did not put this villain team together because Ryan was already freaking out that I had 6, and so I'm going to stop
you didn't
there
follow
and
the
say,
rules.
This villain team would have been great. I would have loved to have discussed it. But that's all I have, and I didn't create it because I didn't want Ryan to have a heart attack.
No, the issue I had with it was I still I see your 6, right? I understand.
They're fantastic.
But it's everyone, right? There's and even your concept. Yeah, there's no concept that you can come up with that then limits anyone else from participating, right?
No, these are the 6.
Yeah, but that's it's okay. And then why not bring in the 7th, right? Why? There's nothing there that limits it. So
it's these 6.
You can't make an interesting story out of it.
Oh, I can make an interesting story.
No.
Oh, I don't know. Hold
James
on.
Bond.
I don't want to defend
Is it
Watson.
inappropriate for him to hit on Elsa? I don't know. Katniss, are they too young? There's some tension there. Hermione, way too young.
I do like where you're going with this. I don't like that, obviously, you took every character ever. Poor Ryan and I had to kind of go fish.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I looked and yours weren't good, so I just went with something that was better.
Hey, listen. But I do like the premise of what you have here. I like that you have gotten kind of these core functional characters that balance out a story. Though you've stolen every good character that we could have used.
I also want to use James Bond and some wizards.
Yeah. But
you
he's
can't
also but here's the
thing.
Sorry,
Sherlock Holmes.
It's not an interesting story, right?
No?
Because as the way it was described, this was Avengers without the Avengers. So we've already got the Avengers. We don't need that. Right? We don't need any of
we don't have a Justice League movie yet, so it's that then.
Okay, but even that, right?
I'm sorry, Zack Snyder. I beat you to the punch. Suck it.
And if Zack Snyder's listening, then
wait.
welcome.
So what do you call this movie? Okay.
Wiki Watson.
Hero
it's everyone.
Team.
Hero team extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Shenanigans. That's what you call that.
Yeah.
Untitled.
Yeah.
Unlimited. That's because that was what we were debating.
How
It's
about unmade? Let's call it that, and we'll move on. Well, let me. So I'll do mine, and then we'll wrap. And here was how the idea was supposed to go. Right, it was kind of trying to take two characters from different universes. I thought again it would be interesting to see some of the connections between them and some of the stories that we could make out of it. And here was my thought on it. And we've talked about this actually a time before.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't know. What?
I do. I'm just being difficult because you were sassing me.
No, that's fine. Hey, but that's always. So, and here's what I would imagine is Sherlock Holmes meets Sherlock Holmes. And what I mean
love
by
that idea.
Is the
Ryan,
Robert
I
Downey
thought
Jr.
we said...
Wait, let me explain.
Hey.
Let me finish explaining. It's the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, specifically crossing over with the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock Holmes. And here's the thing that I like about it.
Don't shake your head.
They both address mysteries, but they both do so in very different ways. Because the Robert Downey Jr. has gone, especially with the second movie, they've gone much more kind of action with a little bit of mystery solving. I'm not even sure I like that direction, but it is kind of interesting. But still brilliant, still being able to put these kind of clues together. And then you've got the Benedict Cumberbatch, which has gone more of the so mentally focused on solving crimes that he no longer cares about other social rules that prevent him from doing things, right? As we saw in season 3, which you still haven't finished, so I'm not going to spoil anything.
I actually started. I watched
you
episode
started, but you
1.
haven't finished.
So good.
So that's why I'm saying. So I'm not going to spoil.
I will.
It's
It'll
so
take me a while.
good.
But
it's not.
But it even kicked off. No. We'll make that a different conversation, right? But
No. Let me just say the characters are good. I don't care for the story.
Well,
ahead.
but
All
you
right.
haven't finished the story, so that's you know
That's what I don't care
Oh
about.
my
okay.
gosh.
But even from the very first episode of the Benedict Cumberbatch ones, we are set up with the police not exactly trusting him as much because they call him a psychopath, right?
Right.
They
Yeah.
even put this out there, right? That he could be so disturbed and just doing these bad things.
Yeah, he
right?
might be doing the things he's solving.
Yeah, so I think that those are very interesting takes on that same base material. And both of them, by the way, still very different from the original Arthur Conan Doyle stories in terms of what this detective was. So I would love to see the two of them brought together in this shared universe. I'm not sure if one's brought to another or they're both brought to some other kind of world or even other kind of time period. And to me, what would be the most interesting thing about it is as Sherlock Holmes, they would both be there. They would meet each other. They would realize what has happened. And then at some point, they would not care about it because instead there's a mystery to be solved. And the mystery is not how they're brought together. It's just like, you know what? We're dealing with it because
I like that.
we are together.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, you don't even have to solve that part of it, right? You can maybe put a little bit out there on how it happened, but it won't matter, and they won't care about it. It's more like
They
we've
get
got
sucked
this
down the
other thing
rabbit
to
hole,
do.
right?
Yeah. And that, to me, would be a lot of fun. Plus, come on, seeing Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch on the same screen.
Would love that.
Doing the same character, right, to each other's faces would be absolutely fantastic.
I know that, like, and imagine just how much they're going to argue at first, right? How much they are going to seriously
At first,
hate.
through the whole show.
Well,
I mean,
true. Like
the
until we
movie.
get to that point where like it doesn't matter anymore. We got to work together somehow to solve this because I don't know, our lives are in danger or there's something pressing.
Because they're going to be curious, right, as to how this happened, but also ultimately realizing it doesn't matter
It doesn't
because
matter.
we're here.
Right.
So let's move on.
Right. But just how more or less that the butting of heads is going to be huge and it's going to be such a stinker up at first and then all of a sudden they're BFF.
What would be funny is if they figure out the how, like in 2 seconds, like, oh, of course it was temporal nexus.
Or-
oh, let's move on. You know, I mean,
Also,
like, because they're
the
so
other-
smart, right?
The other thing that I would love to see is because both of those Sherlock iterations had very different visual representations for the thought process of Sherlock, right?
Yeah.
So with Robert Downey Jr., it was slowing down time and him projecting out like the really fast and really slow, like here are the moves I'm going to do. I'm going to hit his arm here. I'm going to whip around. I'm going to do this, right? And then you see it happen. Whereas the Benedict Cumberbatch, you see like the words kind of flying on the screens and things get
Or like he's in a
discarded and connected
supercomputer
together.
in his head, right? Yeah.
And it would be so awesome, like Robert Downey Jr. is like trying to solve this, and things are, you know, so it goes into that freeze time, and Benedict Cumberbatch saying, "What are you doing? What's going on?" Right? Like all this, and then reverse,
you know,
like,
actually
the words
even-
appear for Benedict, and Robert Downey Jr. saying, "What? Don't you already know this? Why do you need this to happen?"
Even funny is like while he's picturing everybody slow and the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock is in it, he turns and almost like breaks the fourth wall and starts talking to him during the slowdown. Like, he can't slow down the other Sherlock Holmes.
Are you done yet?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
That would be fun.
so let me ask this, Ryan.
I
Okay,
do like
so
this.
you
I like
criticized
this
me for
idea.
having too many characters, 6, right?
I criticize you for having every other character
okay.
that Jenny and I didn't have. Yes.
Well, I actually did want my mental to be the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock Holmes, but
Too
I
bad.
was classy enough to not do it.
Yes. So kind.
Because I knew I was going first, so I could make you look really bad. So you went, instead of going with 6 characters, you went with 1.
No.
That's 1 character.
Oh, no, I feel very strongly that they are 2 characters. Only because they are
So that's 2
completely
characters. So you're not
different.
going to have John Watson involved in this at all.
No.
So you're going to have Sherlock Holmes without Dr. Watson. As a Watson myself, I feel very offended.
But I think we can all agree that 2 people without a Watson is fantastic.
1, 2. Aww.
Cone of silence for you, maybe.
Hey,
That may
hey.
be next.
You could hear me through the cone of silence,
Oh,
okay? That's
that's-
not going to happen.
They have not invented a
Unfortunate.
cone powerful enough. It need to be a cube or a dodecahedron.
Well, I tell you what,
So-
Ryan, even though I protest your lack of Watson in the film, I would grant you a mulligan to give you a Watson,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah, because I admit, that
Although
would
Jude
also
Law,
be interesting.
Jude Law would be the weak link in that chain.
Absolutely.
No way.
Oh,
No.
No
I like Jude
way.
Law. I like Jude Law.
How is he strong? Even for, and I don't know because I don't have eye candy rankings, but doesn't he rank kind of 3rd or 4th on those lists
Are you
of 4?
kidding me?
Not eye candy. Not
No,
eye
I'm
candy.
not.
I mean, I admit he's probably better looking than Martin Freeman.
Martin
Right,
Freeman,
that's why
yeah.
I'm saying
But we're
3
talking as a
or 4.
character, not eye candy, as a character.
As a Dr. Watson?
Yeah, you
I
think,
loved him as Dr. Watson.
but Martin Freeman better than him, right?
Oh, no. Yeah, I would put Martin
And then
Martin
wouldn't you
Freeman,
put
yeah, okay.
Robert Downey Jr. better than him? And then
Like
wouldn't
as
you
an
put-
actor?
No,
Or
in
would-
the
the
characters.
Oh, okay.
And then wouldn't you put
Yeah.
Ian Benedict Cumberbatch in
Okay,
I mean,
yes. Yes,
Jude
he's
Law-
4th.
Jude Law is a distant 4th.
Yeah.
He's 4th when it comes to acting. When you put all of those stuff.
All right,
together.
Jenny has been defeated.
Yeah.
All right.
And in fact, actually, I slowed down that scene in my head to where I could defeat her. It was brilliant. You were talking to me though, Ryan.
No, I had
Up
the
top.
rankings
Yeah.
were appearing. In
Yeah.
above it. So
Yeah, and I was asking
that's
Ryan,
awesome.
what's going on here?
We speak on Jenny Day.
Yeah.
I can't do math.
Jenny,
Can't
the
have my
Dr. Watson
fantasies.
of our cast. There's actually somebody in the cast that has the name Watson, and you're the Dr. Watson, okay?
The Jude Law Watson, to be fair.
Yeah.
At least I'm pretty.
There- All right, well, and so, Jenny, what is your fantasy franchise?
All right, so seeing how there was nothing left in the world to choose from, no.
Jenny, actually, I need one of your people.
Get out of here with that.
You can
Okay.
have nameless cop and a red shirt
Bob
from Star
the Goon
Trek.
from Batman.
Well, you know what's funny? Last time I
Not that you
seriously
would
was.
know. who
No,
Bob
I
the
don't
Goon
know. No, I don't know who that is.
This
But
is Batman.
it reminds me though of Sandman. I was thinking, wouldn't it be kind of funny to have like Sandman from Marvel and Sandman from like the Sleepy Time Sandman get together and try to figure out what was going on? Yeah, but I didn't choose. I didn't choose that at all.
I had already taken that as one of my villains, I believe.
No, so I chose Gandalf and Dumbledore as my 2, characters.
It's awesome.
My fantasy franchise is called the Wild World of Wizards, and more or less this is a story about how Gandalf and Dumbledore they meet at school. They meet at kind of like a boarding school, and it's a boarding school for wizards. So there's a whole bunch of other wizards there.
So Hogwarts or not Hogwarts?
It's not Hogwarts.
Okay.
No, it's not Hogwarts. It's a yeah.
That is a boarding school.
It is
Wizards,
right.
and,
But this is where Dumbledore
Don't be
gets that
stupid,
idea.
Ryan.
Okay, sorry.
Dumbledore gets that idea. So, Dumbledore is kind of the astute, more studious type, kind of the A+ student, paying attention in class. Well, Gandalf kind of comes in, and he's more of like the hippie, free-loving guy, just like, I don't care about school that much.
Smoking some foreign substances.
Yep, absolutely. In the back, kicking his feet up, just kind of being a goof. And so, at first, it's the story of these 2 wizards that couldn't be more opposite than each other. And Dumbledore is kind of pissed off that this guy's always interrupting. He's always coming to class late. He's just kind of a jerk. I wouldn't say he's a jerk, but he's a goof off,
So this is a Buddy Wizard movie?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
kind
right.
of. And then, they get paired up for a certain assignment, and they're
Potions.
like, "Oh, yeah, oh,
Yeah.
maybe not potions, right? Because
Don't be stupid, Ryan.
maybe it's more like staff making or something like that, So they get together.
The
and
sexual tension is rising.
Yeah. I mean,
We already know that Dumbledore.
Gay.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen plays.
And now they're
And
making
now we're
stabs.
Yeah.
But
We at Gabbing Geek are,
You know,
supportive of it.
you know, we're going to recreate is the ghost pottery scene, except now it's going to be making a wizard stab.
That's a visual, people.
no.
That's a visual.
You can't see my face, but I'm like bright red right now. They got me good. All right, but so the story goes is that
Ryan's recreating it now.
I'm recreating the scene of how they're going to make the stab. Yeah.
we don't need
Yeah.
that visual.
I am not getting behind him, though.
All right, so
Hey, Jenny, where were you going with this?
I don't know.
What song's playing during the staff making? That's what I want to know. I'm thinking it's Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Completely
but,
lost my train of
relax.
thought.
Yeah, don't do it.
All right, so here's the deal. They have this class. They have to do their thing, and they finally, after
done their
lots
thing.
Oh, yeah.
of trials and tribulations, they become best friends. And the thing
I wish
is,
I could quit you, Gandalf.
Nice.
these poor people. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry this is happening. All right.
This is making so much more money in the art house scene. I mean, it really is. This could be done. That's okay.
All right. So, anyways, long story short, they become very good friends, and ultimately, Dumbledore wants to open up his own school. Gandalf says, "I had a great time, and I'm going to peace out and go, into the wilderness. I may bring my friend Radagast with me, right?" So he's Radagast. You're looking at me strange. You don't know Radagast?
Yes, I know who that is. Please
Crickets.
carry on.
Are you kidding me?
I don't
You
know.
know Radagast?
No, who's,
Oh, you were.
You don't know Radagast? Oh,
Who's Radagast?
Oh, jeez. Okay, well, he's one of the other wizards in Tolkien's books. Okay.
Oh, that guy.
Oh my gosh.
are we talking Silmarillion? Because I don't go there.
Okay. Anyways,
Wasn't in the movies.
Yeah,
He
which
was
book?
in the movies.
What?
Radagast was in the movies.
The Christopher Lee character?
No, that
No.
was Saruman.
Saruman. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Radagast was actually in The Hobbit.
Oh, I haven't seen The Hobbit.
Oh, you
Yeah.
I saw the first one and I walked out of the second one.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so
That
you'll
movie
meet
was boring.
Radagast, and then I won't feel like such an idiot. But, okay, so long story short, wizards, lots of fun, lots of shenanigans, BFF, and every now and again they'll talk about what's
that's
happening.
3 characters. She just brought in another character.
I said that Radagast would kind of come along.
Yeah.
Him and his rabbit sled, which you don't understand or
bringing-
know.
well,
4.
Yeah. And no, I
just said 2 and then brought in 4 more.
I also like the notion of taking wizards out of, because wizards are always treated very seriously in movies, and so to put them in a more humorous situation,
Yeah.
right? Kind of like the school hijinks,
And they don't know anything
That's
yet,
fine.
so they're trying to figure out how to use their powers and what they need to do, and
fine.
apparently get
Apparently,
past
you've
the
never seen
staff
the show
making.
Charmed.
Why would I watch?
I've
that?
never seen the show
I've never
Charmed
seen
either.
Charmed.
Yeah,
I've never
apparently
seen
untrue.
Charmed.
Well, and I should also say the other thing that kind of inspired this conversation, or at least this potential game, is I don't know if you've seen in the comic in Marvel, they're gearing up for the Spider-Verse series, which is going to
Are they
be
really?
every Spider-Man is going to be kind of crossed over. So it's like the Marvel equivalent of Crisis, except it's just Spider-Man, and it's every Spider-Man. So it even
a
includes,
video game that was somewhat similar to that.
They did the Edge of Time kind of
Dimensions.
something, yeah. But
that one.
yes, that one. And so
Wikipedia.
they're doing the same thing, but they're even going to be including some of the silly ones like Peter
Spider-Ham?
Porker, Spider-Ham.
Oh my
That's the first
gosh.
question. He's in it.
Wait, is this a time travel thing that they're doing?
It's like across
A
different
multiverse
dimensions.
sort
Huh,
of.
yeah.
all right.
Grant
And-
Morrison should write this.
And Edge of Spider-Verse #1 is, I think, out now. So it's like the prequel to it, and that's like a 4 or 5 issue series. But so anyway, I like this notion of it, right? And multiverse, is that, or multiverse? What's the DC one? The latest Crisis is also in #1.
I don't
You're
know.
looking at.
Grant Morrison.
Don't
sorry,
look at me.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I might see.
Kingdom Come.
Good point. Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
So I
it's
actually
an
thought so. I
Well, this is a good idea.
I would go a different direction, right? So when I saw that you were going to pair them up, I wanted to go grumpy old wizards.
Oh,
Ooh.
You know,
like
grumpy
after
old
it's all
men.
after the
Yeah,
fact.
I mean, we can make it a trilogy.
Okay,
you know,
gotcha.
retired.
High school,
Can't-
or,
but you
boarding
can't do
school.
that because Dumbledore's dead.
Yeah, we'll set it before.
Wait. What?
Oh, do not.
Spoilers!
No, that's not a spoiler.
No.
I mean, just cast Anne Margaret. Is she still alive? I don't know.
Is she?
I
I don't
know.
know. Oh,
Okay.
sorry, Anne Margaret.
Yes.
Wah, wah.
I hope that you're still alive, Miss Anne Margaret.
No chance. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good one. I like the discussion. We'll never see those made, so that's okay. That means we
That's
can't
a
get
bummer.
sued for anyone.
No, that's true,
for anything,
actually,
for
yeah, that's
stealing
good.
anything.
Actually,
and we didn't
the
spoil anything.
Sherlock movie is probably the best chance of actually being made.
No, there's just no chance. Only because
Oh, I don't think any of them are going to be made. So
Yeah.
the best chance is
Yeah.
really still infinitesimal.
yeah,
You know, it's-
yeah, that's true. It's a 0.0, so that's fine. All right. Well, let's move on to our next segment, which is Geek Mail.
Yay!
Because we actually have new Geek Mail. And so this is very exciting for us. So, Jenny, why don't you read us our latest Geek Mail?
All right, I'm actually really excited. This is from Mr. Tom Kelly, wrote us in. And he addresses to the geeks.
Wow.
I'm assuming
That's
that's
us.
us.
Yeah,
That is.
that's
all
us.
right,
So
all right.
it wasn't a typo? It wasn't...
No,
It
no.
wasn't,
He didn't
hot
say handsome
job
ones.
in Russia?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Didn't say anything other than to the geeks. In your last podcast, the three of you brought up the Back to the Future trilogy in your discussion of trilogies of widely differing quality. It's a good choice. Hey, thanks. That was my choice.
That was Jenny's.
Wow.
Woo!
Nice.
All right, thanks. Thanks,
Jenny's
Tom.
very happy.
It's her only quality moment of the last podcast.
Hey, no, dude. Oh, so mean. I'm going to read that again. It was a good choice. Though personally, I'd pick number 2 as the weakest of the three, since it seems to exist mostly to recycle jokes from the original and then set up the last one. Plus, for all the Doc Brown worries about what happens when past and future selves meet, no one seems to worry much about young Biff and old Biff meeting. And sadly, neither melt away like Ron Livingston and the Time Cop when the two come together in contact.
Nice
That is a
reference.
quality reference.
That's a good reference.
That's quality.
Yep.
Good point.
I'm visualizing that right now, so that was a good one.
All right, so Aang goes on. But what may be of interest to you all is that, to the best of my knowledge, while Back to the Future 2 and 3 were sequels filmed at the same time, and this may be the first instance of such for sequels, this is not the first instance of movies filmed simultaneously. Superman and Superman 2 were originally to be filmed in such a way, hence all the General Zod stuff in the beginning of the first film. But special effects problems delayed the completion of the second. Plus, feuding between director Richard Donner and the father and son producers Alexander and Ilya Salkind, all right, led to Donner's removal before filming of the second could be complete.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Gene Hackman quit. Then Donner was fired, and Marlon Brando's grumbling for more money led to not only him not being in the second, but the opening credits recap of the first movie managed to show absolutely no scenes of him.
Mm-hmm.
To replace Donner, the Salkins, did I say that right?
Yes.
All right. Brought in Richard Lester, who had managed to do the back-to-back filming of 2 movies for Salkins before, with a slapstick comedy version of Alexander Dumas, The Three Musketeers, and a sequel, The Four Musketeers. Such filming predates not only the various Middle-earth treks of Peter Jackson, but also the 2 Back to the Future sequels. Lester, of course, is also the director of the Beatles movie, A Hard Day's Night, and Help. And by the way, yes, well, I am listening to the very end every week. Tom Kelly.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Wow.
Thank you. You know, he is technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. You know, that I had forgotten. That's a good call out. That was, you know,
The Superman.
the
stuff.
Superman, yeah.
Yeah. No,
And I still think they used some of those footage from Superman 4 as well, right?
Yeah, well, they certainly recycled it, and yeah, it is interesting. I mean, we were talking about the first. I think we had mentioned it was the first time that it was the sequels that were done together. But he's absolutely right in because Superman 1 and 2 not technically being sequels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were all done.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were
Well,
one
he
and two.
calls that out. He calls that out.
Exactly. And it's what I found also interesting. It was only a couple of years ago that they finally released, as close to they could get, the Richard Donner
The
version
directors.
of Superman 2. I mean, because he didn't finish the filming, right?
I
And-
actually didn't know that.
yeah, and so
wow.
it's out, and what's really interesting is that it is both in some ways better than the existing version of Superman 2, but also in other ways far worse. Better in that.
That's a lawyer who covered all of his bases right
Yeah,
there.
well, no, I'll even explain because
Please do.
Yes, it's better in that it doesn't have the Paris opening. Of Superman 2. Do you remember the bombing at the
Yeah.
elevator in the Eiffel Tower? Which
No,
was,
barely.
Out, right?
Yeah, it's not a good
Barely.
scene. It's not good. And that's what they were using to help explain.
Better than a school bus.
Well,
as a villain.
Possibly, yes. But so it doesn't have that, which in one way is better. But then in the original Donner version of Superman 2 ends the same way Superman 1 ends, which is Superman flying around the Earth to put back time so that he can just be in 2 places at
Gosh,
the
I
same
don't
time.
remember.
Going to the well one too many
Exactly,
times.
like 2 movies in
Yeah.
a row, and just
Yeah.
doing that. At which point you're like, well, then we can never make another movie because guess what? 3's ending at Superman going back in time,
Right.
right, spinning around.
No, they could have Richard Pryor spinning around the earth.
Yeah, no, I think they did. That would have been
Richard
better.
Pryor.
But yeah, so it was a really interesting to see those different versions, or at least the closest way that we could get. And I did like seeing that. But yeah, it is an interesting story to see the root of that and how they did change it. Because absolutely right, they had to change the original opening was going to be the nuclear missiles in Superman 1 that Superman kicked off into Earth or kicked off into
Yeah,
space. Like
yeah.
that frees Zod and the others.
Oh.
And so now they had to change it to this Paris the elevator on the Eiffel Tower. Their explosion.
I need to go back and watch that. You know, my dad, I think I've mentioned this before. We had asked the question, are you a Batman or Superman person? And I said Superman because my dad and I used to watch these movies all the time. Like, I wouldn't say every weekend, but it was quite a bit. And I feel like I know the Christopher Reeve movies very well, but I don't remember the opening of this movie.
Yeah.
So
well,
now I feel bad.
And you can see, because I think Superman 2 is the best of those four.
Absolutely. I mean, it was the number one for me
four?
until...
Gosh, I don't remember that either. Oh, man.
You didn't miss
Don't
anything.
see number 4.
Okay.
3 was funny, but it wasn't a Superman movie. It was a funny Richard Pryor
I remember
Yeah.
Richard Pryor in that movie.
Yeah, it just
so.
had some awkward things. But
until the Renaissance came around in the 2000s, Superman 2 was, to me, the gold standard forever.
Yeah. It was just, and really because best villains, right? Because it's 3 Supermen.
The only weakness for me is when he takes off the plastic S, and I don't.
That is weird. That is never explained. Yeah.
I don't think they explain things in the Silver Age.
No, or any of those movies. But the other subject they brought, Back to the Future. Again, we had that discussion about that. But something that we hadn't mentioned before. He talks about the Biffs. There's no concern about the Biffs meeting.
Yeah.
I will say, to me, that is one of the weakest elements of Back to the Future 2.
That there's a Biff at all?
No.
Oh.
There's.
I would say that.
I mean, all movies, especially time travel ones, are going to have plot holes. But there's a huge gaping one in Back to the Future 2, which is very sad to me, right? And it's the fact that old Biff steals the time machine to go back to give young Biff the almanac.
Okay.
Right? And that kicks off all of the conflict in it. But after he does that, he brings the time machine back to the future so that then Marty and Doc have it and they don't realize what's happened. But he's come back into the future where young Biff never had the almanac. Right? You have branching.
The future should have changed. He should have gone back to the new future.
He should have stolen the machine, and the machine's
Got
never
straight
there again,
right?
Or otherwise, you don't have the single timeline. You would have branching timelines.
When he comes back to the future, it should have been the future where Biff had already taken over.
Right. What Back to the Future established...
He should have been it should have been unrecognizable to him instead of to Marty.
What Back to the Future established is that there's one timeline, not these branching timelines, right? And so all of those things should have happened kind of as a cascade rather than him going to this, and it only happened when he manifested when he went back to the 80s, when Marty did. So to me, it was just...
I just want my damn hoverboard.
Well, there's that. But to me, also the other interesting and geeky thing about Back to the Future 2 and also 3, since we're kind of sharing these things, and this is something I only learned about in the past year or so, was that Crispin Glover was not in Back to the Future 2 and 3.
No, he wasn't.
He played Marty's dad.
As a likeness rights expert, I'm surprised that you didn't know this story.
And that's why
Wait a second. He wasn't in it at all?
No,
Not in the beginning?
In 2, do you remember how he's hanging upside down?
Yes.
It's like, oh, Grandpa's here.
Looks
oh,
just
his
like
back's
him.
out. Looks just like him, talks just like him. That is someone else. And he sounded like Crispin Glover because Crispin Glover did not want to come back.
Why?
And so
Crispin Glover thought, hey, I did my one. I don't want to be big. He's a weird
you've seen
actor.
Crispin Glover.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
so-
He's a weirdo.
So they had
Sorry.
someone else who could do a
He
very
is.
good impression.
He's okay with that.
And that's why he's kind of put in these odd physical, like he's floating upside down. I mean, he has a mask on, but you're not looking at him that closely.
Yeah.
We were thinking it's prosthetic, old makeup. Is what I mean.
Yeah.
Because this is actually a whole other person just did
I
a
didn't
fantastic
know that.
impression. And then this resulted in a massive lawsuit because at the time it was not part of equity, the union's rights that you have the right to your person.
Your
It's a
face.
passion of yours.
It is. I mean,
Your face, like your persona.
Ryan gives lectures on Ryan's a law professor of social media.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of your big talks is always on likeness rights.
On rights of publicity and
Oh,
all
wow.
these things, and this was a very new concept. It wasn't that you couldn't pretend to be someone else or made to look like someone else, and so now, as a result of Back to the Future in 2 and 3, that is now part of the standard equity contract. That you can't do that.
So they were the pioneers of making sure that this was in.
But here's the thing that I found so fascinating is that they did that. They had someone else to look like Crispin Glover at the exact same time that they just recast Marty's girlfriend. They had a completely different actress come in instead of
Jennifer.
Elizabeth Shue.
And Elizabeth Shue was kind of famous at that point, right?
She was kind of breaking out, and I think maybe that's the reason why.
By
But
'89, she was already. She was doing Cocktail, man. Come on.
They just redid
Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah, they redid the ending of 1, right, at the beginning of 2, so that it's the new girlfriend.
Girl.
But that's what I find so fascinating is that here are 2 different actors playing the same role, and in one of them they just shoot it normally, and the other one they make to look like
the girlfriend was much less important in the first story because most of the story took place in 1955. And George
We just saw her like once or twice.
Yeah,
right?
She was the beginning.
It didn't even matter. No one knows
she
about
was a
Jennifer.
non-entity, but George McFly was probably the number 2 main
but
character
had
in the whole
very
show.
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
in terms of Back to the Future 2, right? In terms of
Well,
the
yeah,
overall
I mean,
storyline.
you have to
And-
kind of hide your.
So again, I just find that interesting. I get a little
I
bit
do
of
too.
geek
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't know
stuff,
that.
so.
That was
Well, only
so
to
great
I didn't.
email from Tom. There's
Thanks,
a reason
Tom.
his nickname is Razor Wit. Okay.
Did
Ah.
you just give him that nickname?
No. It was his online nickname for many years.
Did he give himself that nickname?
He did.
Then
But
it
he
doesn't
earned
Smart
count.
man.
He
Smart
earned
man.
it. I endorse
Doesn't
this
count.
email.
All
this-
right.
this nickname.
Well, hey, great email, Tom. Thank you for sharing
Thanks,
that
Tom.
with us. And thanks for listening
Give
all
us
the
more
way
mail.
to the end.
Give us
Yeah.
more mail.
Anyone
It's
give
the
more-
only time I get to talk,
and,
guys.
And let me just take this. Nice. Let me take this opportunity. If you're enjoying our podcast, if you're listening to it on iTunes or wherever, go in and give us a review. Give us actually a rave review would be great, and that way we can kind of grow our audience and continue to move forward.
Well, you
Absolutely.
can talk rave about, Ryan and I.
I don't
They
care
can
as
do
long as
whatever
we
they
get
want.
5 stars. You can say 5 stars. Watson sucks. I'll take it.
No, I think that's the key is that you should
Say
give
why
us,
Watson sucks.
No. You should, if you really like the podcast, give us 5 stars and tell us why. Tell everyone
Sure.
why. And if you don't like us that much, then give us 5 stars, but just don't leave a comment.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we'll know, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll know there's something for us to work on, and we'll make it better. But yeah, that would be great. And if you want to email us, if you want your email read by Jenny, then you can email us at gabbinggeek@gmail.com. We'll cover that again at the
That
end.
was a
but
whole
just so you
segment.
know.
We just did a segment that
Wow.
Tom Kelly pitched to us.
Nice job, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
There you go. All right, well, let's move on to our next segment, which is our famous now top 3 segments. And this one, in keeping with, because it's the name of the episode, is you can quote me on that. We are talking about the most quotable geek movies. So geek movies, and there was a rule that was put in this. I realized it too late, but we're not including Star Wars. Okay, look, if you're listening to this, you know a Star Wars quote or 5, and so those
Yeah.
are out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
automatically, because
right.
it's already a top
Part
movie.
of our lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And by knowing
Okay, best Star Wars quote. Your favorite Star Wars quote. We'll
just
do a
to get
round
that out of the
table,
way?
Just a round table. Get it out of the way.
do or do not, there is no try.
Oh, nice. Luke, I am your father.
The Force will be with you.
Okay, yeah,
Always.
right.
Can I finish my quote before you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were
Hold
going to
on.
go with the always
Wait.
one.
Always.
Okay.
Oh, thank
That's much
you.
better. I thought you were going to go with the Jar Jar quote.
Yeah.
Just-
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
yeah.
I noticed there were no quotes. Okay, best quote from the prequels. Is there one?
No.
What is
I like the credits at the end where it said this is over.
I couldn't give you a quote from the prequels.
You could give
I'll
a Jar
give you
Jar
quotes. Yeah,
The
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
Misa Jar Jar Binks. That's it.
I
The
remember-
Yoda quote about hatred and evil and all
Oh,
that.
I do know they killed all the Padawans.
Was,
Right.
was that a quote?
No, that could have been something that they
I can
just did.
paraphrase.
Yeah.
I can paraphrase the
I
worst
can give you
line.
a plot point, Jenny.
No, I can paraphrase the worst line, which is when Anakin's trying to get his moves onto Padme.
Didn't we do
which
that
is
a couple of
it's
episodes
it's
ago?
that where I come from, everything is rough. Not like your skin; it's smooth and yeah, it was just like the worst.
There
pickup
was
line
no
ever.
father.
That's yeah.
Who knows?
yeah, so
Those
That's
movies
a dark,
didn't
dark
happen.
thing. Let's hope we get some better
Prequels
quotes
are
out
not
of
going to make it there. But these are the top 3 then non-Star Wars quotable geek movies. Jenny, what is your number 3
Okay.
geek quotable movie?
Ooh, I'm excited. My number 3 is Anchorman.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Very
Yay!
quotable.
I love Anchorman. I mean, I love the first Anchorman.
I haven't seen the second.
Okay,
You?
you don't need to.
I haven't seen the second, and I did not like the first. But
You
I
didn't
admit
like
that
the
it's
first?
quotable.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same way.
it's kind of
okay.
slapstick.
I didn't dislike it. It was just like I don't like it as much as everybody else.
I was handicapped in that I was the designated driver to go see Anchorman.
Oh, there you go.
You don't have to. Oh, God.
I think you do. At least I would have
man.
needed to be.
Listen, okay, so I think there's just a lot of slapstick, stupid things that happen throughout that movie. It's kind of my generation's Caddyshack. I mean, really, you have like really
might be
like
right.
quirky
My
characters.
generation's Caddyshack was
Caddyshack. Yeah.
We
And
saw
you're
that.
not that
That
much
was-
older than I am, but I can say that because everyone in my family and all of my friends and really a lot of people will just pull quotes out of random air because of this movie.
What's
You know,
the other quote besides "Stay classy"? San Diego.
I'm a glass case of emotion.
Okay.
Oh,
Right?
I got several. There's several.
Or Great Odin's Raven. No?
No,
All right.
no, I'm with you. I think this is a very quotable movie.
Or, San Diego in German means whales
vagina.
the hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go there,
No,
but...
that's a legitimately
it's an anatomical
scientific.
term.
Well,
Yeah.
I love Lamp. I love Lamp.
is actually probably the number one. If actually,
Right?
See, I've seen it.
What about
except for
so
the San Diego quotes? I don't.
What about
Here's
that?
one I use.
Loud noises!
Here's one I use. So when I'm not drinking wine like I'm drinking right now, if I'm at a bar and I want a cocktail, I order, some scotch. And I say, I love scotch.
Scotchy.
That's what I remember.
Okay,
That's a memorable one. So,
Or when he's talking to Baxter, he's like, "What? You ate a whole wheel of cheese? I'm impressed. I'm not even mad."
Look, Ryan, you're good in this podcast. Jenny, you're good. But I'm kind of a big deal.
Oh, yes! That's a high five.
Yes.
And then I would say poop.
Right.
Poop in your mouth. You have poop coming out of your mouth.
I have many leather-bound books. My home smells of mahogany.
And this podcast, they say, studies have shown 60% of the time it works every time.
There's one that I use at work every now and then. HR doesn't like it when I use it to my staff, but when they've displeased me, I say, go home to Whore Island.
and just because this is recorded, no, he doesn't use that line.
We hope not.
I do not.
So anyway,
To
like
my
this,
dear friends in human resources, I have never said that to anyone, and I respect all of our HR policies.
well, the great thing about that movie is that a lot of that was improv, right? So a lot of these great quotes that we're getting is because they just right off the fly, said it.
And a great cast for it.
And cocaine. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I thought that was assumed, but yeah.
Not assumed.
All right, well,
To
William.
the cast of Anchorman, we do not believe that you use cocaine.
Actually, I believe that you did. That's all right.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's a good one. We all agree.
very
That's
quotable.
quotable.
Very
Even
quotable.
not liking the movie, I still agree.
I'm not a huge
I
fan
agree
of the
with that.
movie, but I still laugh at the quotes,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
use
that's
them.
fine.
I
That's
use
fine.
them.
All right, good.
Mr.
Good deal.
Watson,
What's
you're
yours?
number 3.
So here's a movie that I love. I think we all love. I think everybody loves this movie. It's probably one of the most beloved geek comedies. I would say, actually, it is the most beloved geek comedy of all time. Ghostbusters.
Yeah. No denying that.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Great film. Very quotable.
That was our parting shot last
was.
week.
Ryan, why don't you
That's
give
my
that
favorite
quote?
quote.
Do it.
Ray, when someone asks if you're a god, you say yes.
Yes.
That's
I use this
I
in
do
house
love
making. It's a quote that I occasionally use, but no, wait.
We don't need to know any of that.
The too much information segment of Gabbing Geek.
Give me another good one.
Don't cross the streams.
Oh, though, yeah.
He slimed me.
Every
slimed me.
I use that in video games all the time. Of like in a Diablo sort of
Oh,
game.
yeah, uh-huh.
When a blob monster and I die, he slimed me.
No, I got a good one. That's your plan. Get her.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Let's see.
Yes,
The whole
good.
the gatekeeper, keymaster.
Yes, are you the
bit.
gatekeeper? Yeah.
One of my favorites is human sacrifices. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
Oh wait,
You can use that a lot. Like,
Yes,
you can use that
yes.
anytime
Yeah, dogs.
something goes crazy.
Wait, tell him about the Twinkie.
Tell them about the Twinkie.
Tell him about the Twinkie. That's a good one. Yes, it's true. This man has no.
Yeah.
Great
You're a
line.
scientist? You're more like a game show host.
Yeah.
Someone saw a cockroach up on 12.
Great stuff.
Yeah,
And it also, and Ghostbusters 2, not maybe as much.
It was a
but
weird
not bad. I
movie.
mean, it just didn't live up to
Yeah.
the
No,
and
it was
now-
just kind of a weird movie,
and-
and it's
Yeah,
kind of-
and now every 6 months the rumors for Ghostbusters 3 comes out.
Yeah.
I don't want them to do it.
I don't know
want
that they
reboot
can
of
anymore.
females. That's and Bill Murray said the other
Of
day he loves
females?
it. Yeah, that's the latest rumors. Kristen Wiig and the ladies from Bridesmaids essentially is the Ghostbusters.
But here's the
Holy
thing: they
moly,
don't
I
need
would
to
watch
reboot
that.
this. They can just make a ghost movie, right? They can take the concept. They don't need to call it Ghostbusters.
yeah, but that's not the way money works.
Well, yeah. All right.
So I just want to say, as of this, we came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
That's
you know?
true.
Oh, yeah,
That's true.
good.
Anatomical, so that's fine. We don't have to bleep that.
That's right.
Um,
Vaginas and asses.
Yeah, that should have been the name of this episode, but it won't be. Well, my number 3 most quotable geek movie is the beloved, the fantastic Airplane.
Very nice.
Yeah?
Because
All right.
there's, and some of you are probably
I've only
saying,
seen it
surely you
once.
can't be serious.
Surely.
And of course I'm saying I am serious, and don't
call me Shirley. Nice.
Right?
Nice.
That was
so
good.
many great, and also one of the best things about this movie is also something I only learned in this past year, is that Airplane itself is a remake of another movie.
It
Not a remake,
is?
a parody.
No. It is a remake of another movie where about 80% of the lines are identical.
No.
What?
Yes.
What's
you
it?
can look
is
this
it
up, and
called
I'm
Airplane?
blanking the name. It's an
You
airplane
can't
disaster
come
movie.
with that kind of.
I should.
But I thought it was a parody of the movie Airport.
No. So it was parodying the disaster films that
Genre,
were going on,
Airport
right?
was
but
the-
literally, this was another movie that the makers, the Zuckers, and they had seen so many times, and they were just laughing hysterically at how seriously they were taking predicting it, even down to the line of everyone who has had fish on this plane is going to become sick
right,
in the next hour, right?
It was a serious movie that they just took it and made it funny, right? I mean,
no, but they kept the line.
but it was not a comedy right?
No.
And that's what makes it even funnier.
Yes, that's the fantastic parts of it. I mean, the Shirley,
know
of course,
that.
that's
Yeah.
a new
Sure.
line, right? But
Shirley.
all these other things that they just kept identical.
That's hilarious. I knew it was a
That's
parody. I didn't know
fantastic.
it was that much of a parody.
Yeah. So
No.
I just love that element of it. But otherwise, I mean, the movie itself is just
Ryan,
a classic.
I have a question for you. Ever seen a grown man naked?
Have you ever been to a Turkish prison?
Do you like gladiator movies?
It's nice.
Another one I like is when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar plays one of the co-pilots. They start ripping on laziness of basketball on defense or whatever, and he actually
That's his
breaks
reaction.
kind of almost the fourth wall
Yeah.
and says, "Have you ever carried Lambeer and these guys down the court for 48 minutes?"
Yeah. Or when they pull him out of the seat and he's wearing his basketball shorts.
Exactly.
I mean, the visuals as well. I mean, just an absolute.
I need to go
classic,
back
but
and
even
watch
the
that.
line.
I haven't
Again.
seen it in a
I haven't
long
seen it in a long
time. I mean,
time.
I've seen
I've
it
only
as
seen it once,
as an
too.
adult, probably, but it's probably been 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that is a long time.
Excuse
All
me,
right.
stewardess. I speak jive.
That was the Leave It to Beaver mother.
Yeah, fantastic. So, all right, that was my number 3. So, our number 2 movies, Jenny. What is your number 2 most quotable geek?
Oh, this is one of my most favorites. And maybe it's not the most quotable, but I love this movie more than anything, and that's Spaceballs. Love me.
That's quotable.
That's
All
very
right.
quotable.
That's right, yeah.
All right, love me some Spaceballs.
Very geeky too.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorites of that movie is when they're when they're rewinding the videotape of their recording, right? Where they're sitting there looking at what had just happened on the ship, right? And it's, what the heck am I looking at? When does this happen? And he says, "Well, now you're looking at now, sir." "Well, when did that happen?" "Well, we just passed it just then."
Yeah,
"Well,
just
when?"
then? Now.
Just
No.
now.
Yeah.
"Well, we're at now." "Well, go back to then." "Well, when?" "Now." "Now?" "Now."
That's-
"I can't. We just missed it." "When?" "Just now." "When will then be now?" "Soon."
Yeah.
Great.
I freaking love that whole bit.
That was
it's
a great
so
one.
Good.
That was great. It's so many great. Seer Schwartz is as big as mine.
Yes,
That's,
yes.
The password to the defense system of Alderaan is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only a moron would have that. Hey,
That's my luggage.
Gotta change my password. Yeah. Oh, great
It's just
stuff.
such everything that they do to parody Star Wars, with all the different, the Schwartzman, the Schwartz be with you.
merchandising.
And, yeah. Frenchy fortune.
That makes us no relations
Right.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm your
I'm
father's
your
cousin's
father's brother's
roommate.
does that make
nephew's
us?
cousin's roommate.
Absolutely nothing.
I love it. And then of course the ludicrous speed. I think that's hilarious. Faster than light speed, putting into ludicrous speed. Here we go. But such a great movie because of all the different characters that they had in there. And, such a nice send-off as well for Joan Rivers. Just to kind of shout out to her as Dot.
Well, that's right.
She
was the
voiced Dot.
C-3PO analog. That's right.
Yeah. So,
Funny, he doesn't look Druish.
Yeah,
That was
nice.
her. That was her great line
I
on that.
forgot
So.
she was in that.
Yeah.
Yep, that is a
and
nice one.
just to kind of like surround us out, the one line that kind of kicks it home for all of us three here is that I'm surrounded by a-holes.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yep.
That's a good
So
one.
that's my number 2.
Nice. Good
All
choice.
right.
How about you,
Good
Watson?
choice. No.
No.
Oh, you want me to go? Okay. Yeah.
You're number 2.
All right, so geeky in more of a broader sense, but again, I kind of started. So I started driving in 1991. I turned 16 in 1991.
Wow.
Yeah, shut
Old.
up.
Ancient.
Yes. I had children when Anchorman was released. Okay.
Well, there's your excuse.
There, yeah. So. One of the first
At least you
movies
didn't
I
sleep
ever
through the
went
movie.
to by myself driving, and I actually saw this 6 times in the theater. Other than maybe some Star Wars movies as a kid, this is the movie I've seen the most in the theater. Wayne's World.
Oh, this is a good one.
Wayne's World is
This is a great one.
and this was not just quotable to geeks. This
For
expanded
everyone.
into the pop
Yeah.
culture of the early '90s, right? I mean,
It's a good choice.
Jenny, you're very talented. Not.
Yeah. Well, that
Beat
certainly
up
helped
Jenny.
having all.
You
the
should have said
sketches
you're really
leading
good
up
at
to it.
math.
Yeah.
All right.
Not.
Yeah. That
As
was
if. Sha. And monkeys might fly out of my butt.
Shot.
But I wonder if it's as much the movie as it was all the sketches that made it quotable.
No,
Right.
the movie. I mean, the movie. Yes. I mean, they
Yeah, I
obviously
would agree
continued
with
on
that.
that. But
No.
I mean, that was actually. I mean, it was like such a cheap made movie.
Yeah.
And it $1991 before box office was what it was. I mean, it made like $130 million.
No, immensely popular. But I mean, like all of those quotes to me come more from the sketches than from the movie. Like the only thing that I can really pin on just coming straight from the movie is, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Can you listen to that without headbanging?
No.
You can't even have it come on in the car with like multiple people without doing it, right?
Wait, if you had to choose one, like your favorite, what would
that
be?
My favorite.
This is a really like jam-packed movie.
Yeah, I mean, because for me, it's not the nod, it's not the swing, it's not it's like it's when he's speaking Mandarin or was it Mandarin or no Cantonese. When he's speaking Cantonese to her on the rooftop, and he's showing his depth, and he's like, and it's in subtitles, right? Was it Kierkegaard or Dick Van Patten who said, "If you label me, you negate me"?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I use that all the time, and that's.
But yet you're using the subtitled version. You haven't memorized,
right? Because you cannot speak Cantonese.
Or if somebody says something very deep, I say, "Garth, that was a haiku."
The one line I do also remember from the movie is like when they go into Rob Lowe's apartment. He's like, "I'm totally going to get a place like this when I move out of my parents."
Yeah. Hey, Ryan, if you were an ice cream flavor, you'd be pralines and dick.
That's
we covered some anatomical
terms. Yes,
all from Watson
if
today.
you're gonna spew in this.
That's well, yes, I think we are agreeing. Very quotable. Well, let's move on. Then my number 2 movie, and this is also bridging between our conversation that we had last week on Jenny's blind spots, or Geek blind spot.
Yeah.
But my number 2 most quotable movie is Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I know Shrubbery.
You knew Shrubbery.
I knew
you knew there was a Shrubbery quote. But there's
what
so
is
many
the real
quotes.
quote? Do you have it? Like the Shrubbery quote?
It's when he's facing the knights who say knee.
Okay.
Which there's another great
We
quote.
are the knights who say knee.
We are the knights who say knee, and they demand a shrubbery. In
That's
order to
it.
pass them, so he had to bring a shrubbery, and then they demanded another shrubbery.
so
you just
silly.
need to go see
I
that
know,
movie.
I know.
But there's
Actually,
that
Jenny,
quote.
you just really don't.
No, I'm
it's
gonna watch
great.
it.
There's the
I owe it to my friend.
It's kind of hard as a quote, but the using the coconuts and banging them together as a horse, exactly. I mean,
That's William Watson on the special
like a
effects.
sound
nice.
effect. A sound
That was
effect
nice.
as a quote seems strange, but still,
I
that's
was
a
actually
great
gonna
one,
use that
right?
one.
That's a great
The
one.
coconuts.
There's the constitutional peasant scene that almost everyone knows some kind of form of it, right? Which is the strange
We
women.
talked about that one.
Right, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords. There's no basis for a system of government. You even made a joke about me correcting you on it because I
I'm
like
okay with
that
that.
quote. But even as part of that, like where he says some, well, who are you? Well, I am your king. Well, I didn't vote for you.
Nice.
Right, that's a great one. So many.
Which is
great
a very
scenes.
American sentiment.
Yes. Although coming from them as well, but
Exactly.
Yeah. But then there's the holy hand grenade, right? 3 is the number thou shalt count to, not 2 unless thou proceedeth directly to 3. 4 is right out. Just so many great scenes from it, and also the other great one, the witch burning scene. Where they come across where they're about to burn a witch.
Haven't seen it.
I'm looking at it, but they're all accusing this woman of being a witch, and then someone cries out, "She turned me into a newt." And they look at him, a newt? I got better. It's very geeky, very quotable.
Are you done? Because you've missed.
I could do so many
You've
more.
missed a glaring one.
Which
It is but a flesh wound.
that is a great one. Very true. Very
That's
true.
the most famous one, right?
Very true, yeah. What are you gonna do? Bleed on me?
For those of
Chop
you
your
that
legs
couldn't
off.
hear through Watson's high, screechy voice,
I know.
And 3 glasses of wine.
I'm going to be spending so much time editing just to make Watson
it
not
is
blow out
but
your speakers.
a flesh
That's-
wound, right? It is
It
but
is
a
but a
flesh
flesh
wound.
wound.
Yeah. Well, no, he was doing it in the accent.
I know.
So
I'm
that's
sorry. I had
Very
to.
well.
Yeah, that's Watson's British accent, by the way.
Sheesh.
You should have done this whole segment with a British accent.
He tried to. That was it.
I know
That was
better.
Ryan's British.
I know better than to do that. So yes, so there is my number 2.
I love it. All right.
All right, and
It
now,
makes me really go. Actually, it really does make me want to go and watch it.
Yeah.
I think we need
Some
to
of
have
these are
Gabbing
hilarious.
Geek film nights.
Very interesting.
Clue.
Watching that? No. Well, let's move on to our number 1 choice of the most quotable geek movies. Jenny, kick us off. What is your number 1
We are the
quotable geek movie?
3 amigos.
Yeah.
This is the best movie in the history of movies. Do not, Watson.
No. You
Do
totally
not.
do not get any wah-wahs for this segment. So
This,
we'll
you
talk
haven't
about that
even
in just
seen
a couple
the movie.
minutes.
You haven't even seen the movie, right?
I've seen it. I saw it in 1980.
Okay.
6.
Get out of here with
No, it's
your
fantastic.
1980s. It is one of the best movies ever.
You shot the Invisible Swordsman.
Hold on a second. Real bullets. What's happening?
Yeah, he stops him.
You guys tell me when you finish this part of the
Oh my
segment. I'm gonna
gosh.
browse on my phone.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Look
hey,
up here.
look up here. Look up here.
Nothing.
Sweater!
All I remember is pelvic thrusting.
Oh my! Okay.
Oh.
Hey, wait! I got you.
That?
Whenever there is injustice, you will find us. Whenever there is suffering, we'll be there. Whenever liberty is threatened, you will find the three amigos. Ha, ha, ha.
Huh. I am more entertained
Did
with
that
Jenny's in-person rendition of that than I was the entire film.
Well,
What
that's
about the
because she
plethora?
just
The plethora.
a plethora. A plethora pinatas.
Hefe? Do you even know what a plethora means?
That's funny.
Yeah, the plethora is funny.
All right.
How do you know it's a mail plane?
Because you see the little
I clearly need to rewatch this film.
You really it's
gringos falling from the sky.
infamous.
It's yeah.
They're
They're
enjoying themselves so much, and I'm just sitting
I
here.
think we could, that's
I
the
got
great
nothing.
thing. We could practically do the entire movie because it is
Oh wait!
so awesome.
Fun fact: I have won a trivia night by myself because it was three amigos.
Was
in
Deborah
the
there?
Final round. Deborah was not there. Deborah is a fan, I will say. And shout out to Deborah. Shout out to Deborah.
Of Three Amigos, or
It was the last round was three amigos, and I won it single-handedly because I knew everything.
awesome.
So three amigos wins.
I think you've told everything in this particular session.
Oh, no, there's even more.
Hey, listen, in each of us, we all face an El Guapo every
Yes.
once in a while. Your El Guapo is the Three Amigos.
Yes. For
As
some,
true today
it is
as
the-
when it was
what is-
written.
As some, it is the inability to read. For others, it's a lack of an education. For us, it happens to be a large man who wants to
Actually,
kill
El
us.
Guapo.
Really like Jack Black in this movie.
Oh, get out of here.
You know they're gonna remake
No,
this one with
no.
Jack Black.
No.
No, you know,
Jack
never,
Black will remake
never.
it.
and
Bali,
although
Bali, Bali, Bali.
we're-
Aw.
I don't even know you anymore.
and the My Little Buttercup sing along.
Oh, ready?
That's
My little buttercup. Has the
no.
sweetest smile.
All right,
No?
well,
Okay.
Three
All right.
Amigos,
Three Amigos
fantastic
wins.
choice.
Obviously a great choice.
Obviously fantastic. Very geeky,
So-
very quotable. I hesitate to do it, William.
You go. I want to wrap it up. I want to close.
can't wrap
No,
this
no,
up.
we
You
need
can't
something to
wrap this
cleanse
up.
the palate after this, after what you're about to drop on
I
everyone.
don't think that it's until the Aquaman film comes out and is completely quotable. I don't think any of our regular listeners will be shocked to know that I think that the most quotable geek movie, actually no, the most quotable movie ever is Clue. Clue.
I want to edit in some wah-wahs, some nuclear explosions, some huge, the Price is Right. Dun, 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 dun.
So for those of you who, for those of you who listen regularly,
total.
I do
Especially
my
after
prep
Three
work. I have
Amigos.
my notes.
I love
what I want.
Clue, though.
It's just some ideas. Just kind of a general outline. The funny stuff that we do comes kind of organically, but
We're funny?
so
We
I
don't do
had
funny stuff, yeah.
No.
Are we funny?
I'm funny. I'm funny. That's what I bring to the
You
table.
think you're funny?
That's funny.
I think I represent 25% of our viewership, our listenership. though, so-
You may. My friends are.
So I had a
probably not
whole
listening.
page of quotes on all of the ones we've done so far. I have a second page.
Oh my!
of
He
just
literally flipped the page.
Clue. I'm flipping the page.
And here's
He
the
literally
thing.
flipped
And
the
of course,
quotes.
I'm going to disagree on why Clue is quotable at all. But here was my kind of challenge to this, and I don't know if we want to do it live because I have seen it and I don't like the movie. Jenny, you've seen
You
Clue.
saw
You
it
actually
in
like
the
the movie.
I like the
80s.
movie.
No, but I'm just
I like
putting
the
the
movie.
context. Jenny actually likes the movie.
I like the
You
movie.
have some quotes on there. I think that if I were to
A whole
read
page.
2 quotes and make up one, she would not know which one.
I'm
going to
pass.
Let's do this.
I'm
Let's
going
do
to
it.
pass my notes to
do it.
Ryan.
We're doing it live, and it's also kind of tricky, sir. It's kind of tricky to do this, but because now I have to read these. So which
Maybe I
one am
shouldn't
going
watch
to
your
read?
eyes because
Yeah,
I
exactly.
could also.
Yeah, don't look.
Okay, I'm not
I
going to
didn't look.
I have to look at Watson.
He is quite a good poker player. He would not. While he's doing that, I'm going to give you obviously the greatest quote ever because basically dead air on podcasting just sucks. The most quotable ever is, and I use this sometimes, just like in conversation. Communism was just a red herring. right? I mean, it's okay.
And I know you've said it, but I've never. I don't even know it's from Clue until
Okay,
you tell me
because
that's
you
from
haven't
Clue.
seen the movie in 30-something years. I mean,
and
we're going to do the first
We have to
movie,
do.
first Gabbing Geek, because Jaron, our friend Jaron Sternberg from
Okay.
work, Ryan.
Dropping names.
You've met Jaron, I think,
Yes.
right? She listens. She has no geek cred at all. She's never seen Star Wars.
Right.
The
This
only
is a
thing that we've
travesty.
ever mentioned in the 4 episodes that she's listened to is she saw the documentary. Yeah, she still listens.
Wow.
She works for me. She
Oh,
has
okay.
no choice.
She has. She's
so
been forced to listen.
She actually saw To Be Decay.
Oh,
Which she's like, oh my god, they talked about something I like.
Yeah. All right.
But so she has requested a
Geek
Gabbing
movie?
Geek, viewing of Clue but Ryan Garcia has to be there. She said.
I want to be there.
Do-
Are you guys
no,
kicking
you're
me out
totally
again?
invited.
Can
Oh,
I-
thank goodness.
Can I
Cone of
drink?
silence.
I think you have to drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
All right.
okay.
So we will give a
I'm
review
gonna
in the
give 3
future of
quotes.
Gabbing
Okay,
Geek.
here we
Oh,
go.
you got it. You ready?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm going to give you
Awesome.
3 quotes.
Oh my gosh, I'm
and
nervous.
you're going to have to pick out which one or ones are from Clue.
Okay, let me
Okay,
wait.
so
Let me
don't
do
look
I
some.
at
am
me.
nervous.
Let me do some arm stretches.
Don't look
You
at
need
me.
another
We're going
beer?
to see how quotable this is.
'Kay.
Okay. I don't
Got
even
it.
know if these are actual quotes. These are just what William wrote down.
That's true.
Right?
I haven't seen
Okay.
the movie in years, so who knows?
But by the way, kudos on having handwriting I can actually read because that's a
rare.
rare skill
Yeah,
these days.
yeah.
Okay, so quote number 1 is Mrs. Peacock was a man. Quote number 2 is I didn't know it was that free. And quote number 3 is the mustard wasn't that spicy, was it? Which one or ones were from Clue?
Oh gosh, the last one doesn't sound like a Clue quote, because I don't remember that. Mrs. Peacock was a man. That was from Clue. That was from Clue. The second one, I didn't know that they were that free. That kind of sounds like a Clue. I think it's number 3.
The number 3 is not?
Can I answer?
Yeah, that's great.
Because it's 2 and 3, you tricky bastard.
What? No, number 2 is a quote. What? You just missed
I-
one of your own quotes that you wrote
I
down.
won! Was I right?
Oh, okay. How embarrassing.
I was right.
So, yeah, the
This is
context.
amazing. Jenny didn't prove my point. Mr. Watson proved my point, and he's the one who brought this horrible, horrible movie into the conversation. This is an epic moment.
Yes, this is bad. This is bad because it's the context of. So, for the context of that quote is, Wadsworth doesn't know that they've tricked the cop into not knowing it was a murder, and he says, "Hey, it's a free country." Well, I didn't know it was that free.
Yeah.
Oh, well
Yeah.
played, Ryan.
Yeah.
Because you tricked me when you said quote or quotes, and I was like, "Oh, he's being tricky."
Oh my
I
gosh.
had to be a little
That's
bit
why
tricky,
Ryan
but-
always takes my money in poker.
But can I just stand tall for a minute and say I am a Clue fan?
Yeah.
And this proves it.
And it does, and it also shows that there is some ability to recognize these quotes. But, I have seen the movie more than once. I will say that.
When was the last time you saw it?
It was a long time ago. Because here's
Will
the thing.
you watch it again if I provide alcohol?
If you provide alcohol
And
I can
Sarah
consume it.
and your wife
we'll
can
And you
come.
can consume it.
We'll do a party night.
I saw it in
Wait.
the theater. I saw it with ending B because I knew that there were 3 endings at the time, and I remember on my ticket it said ending
What?
B. And then later, when it came out on VCR way back,
Yeah.
and it had all 3 endings, I remember seeing it then. So it was absolutely a long time ago. Maybe it was middle school. So I mean, we're talking.
So that's
late
when it came out. Yeah, no,
Oh,
we were in
wow.
middle school when it came
Yeah.
out for sure.
So it's been a
maybe
long
elementary, maybe even elementary.
Okay, shout out to my brother Christian. He and I would watch
dropper.
this. I have to because this is one of his favorite movies, and we would watch
I like
it together.
Christian already.
Yeah, this is one of his favorite movies, and we would watch it all the time. We would watch it so much that we would then play the game right afterwards. Like we'd play the game Clue right after watching Clue, and this was like a weekend event. This was just a Friday night for us.
You had sent me the article about the making of the movie and how
It became a cult classic.
Well, how it became a cult classic, but it also told about behind the scenes and how miserable everyone was when making it, and just all the bad conditions and like things going back, and they weren't even sure what was happening. And to me,
know that I
that kind
remember
of
this.
came across. I did not have fun watching this movie. I didn't enjoy.
Do
it.
we
The
have a
only-
good funny quote from
There
you?
was a
only
quote
line
that
that I
Jenny
liked-
doesn't understand. There's a quote real Jenny I don't think could understand
What's
because
that?
it's 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
Oh my God.
That confuses Jenny.
Yeah, that is a tough one.
You guys are so awful. I hope that our listeners are going to ream you for this.
Jenny, that was a double negative,
Yeah.
which has led to proof positive. I'm afraid you gave yourself away.
See, I remember this. The only quote that
I
I,
like
can
that.
remember from seeing it was the repeated joke. Where, to make a long story short,
Too late.
too late,
Yeah.
right? And I remember that one, and that is a funny line.
Yes.
But kind of the only thing that is memorable for me.
Yeah.
So
Husbands should be like Kleenex. Strong, soft, and
disposable. Yep.
It's a matter of life after death. Now that he's dead, I have a life.
if you're just gonna do all the lines, I'm not gonna watch it.
No, okay, you guys stop
Give
now.
you one more.
Okay.
I hated her so much. Flames on the side of my face, breathing, heaving breaths. Oh, that was
if
so
only
much.
he had heaving breath.
See, but
That was so much better than your Three Amigos quote.
no. But see,
I've lost Jenny.
You're doing kind of a funny moment that you would never actually quote. in
I
person.
actually quote that in person to
the
people.
flaming.
When I get mad at
The heaving
somebody, I
breath.
tell them the flames, flames going. Although I've known
never
you for
seen
many
this.
years.
Yeah,
and
exactly. I've never seen
but
this.
I've never met you because I love you, man.
Well,
Aw.
there. See.
So Ryan, let me ask
now
you,
I
what
need
is
to
your
do
Now
something.
we
What
need
is
you
your
to sing
favorite-
My Little Buttercup.
what
and,
is
like,
your
run-
favorite? What is your favorite?
Smile.
What is
Smile.
what is your favorite movie theater chain?
What?
What is your favorite movie theater chain?
You know
Wait,
this.
like
I
Alamo?
want you to
It's
say the words.
It's the Alamo Draft House.
Alamo Draft House, and they have what? A quote along.
Quote along.
Up top, Jen.
Yes. We're gonna go. We gotta go. That would be awesome.
Yes.
Clue quote along.
Clue quote along.
Three
Well, that
Three
is
Amigos
intriguing
would be
because I
great
can
too.
drink there.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and I will need to. All right, well then let's
And
move on.
yours.
My number one choice for most quotable geek movie, and really I think most quotable movie, period, geek or otherwise, and that is, of course, Princess Bride.
Oh,
Fairly quotable, but
yes.
not quite to the
No.
clue category.
do not.
You're right.
Princess
No,
Bride is
no,
the
You know
best.
what? He's right. It is not in the clue category because it's actually quotable, where that you could actually go up to people on the street and they will be able to give you several quotes. I think, of course, the greatest. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
That is a
Die.
great
That
quote.
is fantastic.
to
Right?
I say that to strangers and
Yes.
they beat me up.
Well, no, actually, they'll probably do it back to you, right?
Or about, what
Because
about
it's so-
As You Wish?
Then they beat me
As
up.
You Wish. That's a
As
great
You
one.
Wish.
Inconceivable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly, I cannot choose the cup in front of me. Right? That's the first rule. The second, only slightly less well-known rule is to never start a ground war in Asia. Right?
Marriage.
Marriage.
Yeah.
That's a great one. I have to say it with the marriage. I mean, it's so quotable.
Some Billy
It's one
Crystal
of my
quotes. So
favorite-
what was the Billy Crystal quote?
Well, yes, true love is great,
True
but he did not
love.
say that.
True
He's clearly
love.
said to blade, which we all know means to bluff. Liar! Liar! Carol Kane as his
Yes,
wife.
Yeah.
yes,
Have
yes.
fun storming the castle.
Have fun storming the castle.
That's some, yeah.
You know, honestly, I think that's probably one of the better geek cult classics. Right?
Oh,
Because, I mean,
this is
I-
my
it was
favorite
big,
movie of
but
all
it wasn't like a
time.
huge hit, right? I think it was a success, but I mean,
Was
And
it?
I
don't know.
have a hard time putting it into context only because when the movie was coming out, I remember in elementary school, we actually had these like little magazines that would come every month. And for some reason, they had like 3 scenes from The Princess Bride as
weird.
scripts in
Really?
it. So we were all doing the lines in the classroom before the movie even came out. And I don't remember why. I mean, obviously they must have had some stake in it because maybe they published the book and then, had the rights to when the movie was made. But I remember that, and I remember having a script for a movie, or for a couple scenes, and that was just great. But
classic William Goldman script for the film.
was that?
It seriously is my favorite movie of all time. Like if we are
Really?
if
Oh,
we are
that's cool.
ranking movies
Wow.
of all time, it is my
So,
number one.
I think that completes the trifecta. I think we've all announced our favorite films on the podcast now.
Yeah,
we
it's
did
up
not
there.
know because you
Wait.
established Matrix as your favorite.
oh, Matrix,
I
yeah,
clearly
mine is,
established that Dark Knight is mine, and now we
and
have
Princess Bride is the
really,
number one
if
for
only
me.
we could take Clue and duel it to the pain.
Top 10. Top 10.
We-
to the pain.
To the
Top
pain.
10, top
To the
10.
pain. You don't even. Do you know what we're saying? Did you even get that quote?
Was that
Yes!
a Three
That was-
Amigos quote?
No.
That was a
What?
Princess Bride
Princess
quote.
Bride
to the pain.
Oh, yeah.
Not.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh
I actually
my
showed that to
goodness.
my son recently, so I have seen it in like the last
Oh,
3
I
years.
love that movie more than
Yeah.
So I
anything.
guess
And
that's not
Carrie
that
Yule, Carrie Yule for me. So I was a huge Earl Flynn fan.
He
and
really,
and so when Carrie Yule came along and he was the Dread Pirate, I actually
or
have.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Well,
Mm.
yes.
Ouch. Yeah.
Okay,
He's
so
actually kind of funny in that.
So the Dread Pirate
Wasn't a great
Roberts,
movie,
I
but
have
he
a
was
playlist on YouTube. You can go out there right now. It's called the Dread Pirate Roberts playlist, and it's all the greatest music of all time, starting off with Princess Bride theme song.
That's good.
So
That's really good.
I won't be viewing.
you should,
Nah.
you should.
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist. Just
Nice,
that movie comes on.
Anybody want a peanut?
Yeah, that's a great one too. Are there rocks ahead?
And it was the greatest kiss ever.
Oh, is this a kissing book? Right? I mean,
Grandpa.
Brad Savage and
Yeah.
what was the
Columbo? Yeah.
Peter
that's
Falk.
just-
Peter
yeah,
Falk.
Good, nice. And that's what's great about. I think every scene has a quote.
Something
Right,
in
you
it.
may not
It's
know it
so
immediately,
great.
but then if the movie comes on and you stop it right when the scene starts to give me a line from it, you can do it from every single scene. In
But
that
there is
movie.
nothing that compares to the Mandy Patinkin.
Oh, yeah.
That is
Mine-
I would put that in my top 10 movie quotes.
Well,
of all
I need
time.
a shirt. I know that they sell these shirts. I
They
actually
sell a shirt of every movie quote you would ever
I
want.
need it. I need
including
a huge
from
one.
Clue. Actually, that's homework for everyone.
just so many-
Is there a movie shirt with a quote of Clue?
Yeah, seriously, and not just one that you can make, on Threadless or something.
and it's
but-
on WilliamWatson.com.
Somebody post just a big
But-
question
and
mark.
Not only does every scene, every character has one, right? Even
Yep.
Andre the Giant has some fantastic lines.
Yep.
I mean, not just his rhymes, but my way's not very sportsmanlike, right? I'm on the Brute Squad. You are the Brute Squad, right? That's just everything in that movie, just
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a
Good.
good
I'm
discussion.
glad you chose
good for
that
our top
one.
3. And that's going to wrap up our episode 5. You can quote me on that. If you want to reach us by email because you want your Geek Mail read, then of course it's at gabbinggeek@gmail.com. You can also reach me on Twitter at @SumdellLawyer. Jenny, how can they reach you?
At Twitter, Jenny_Newman.
That's great. William?
On Twitter at Witty Watts.
Yeah, it's not like Clue Lover, XXOO. You should see if that handle's taken because I don't think it is.
We should just create it for
Yeah,
him.
but let's also figure out what we've learned today.
Oh, yay.
Yes,
I like this part.
We have learned today that the dinosaurs could have lived a lot longer if they'd had name tags. All
True.
of them.
True.
All of them. Yeah.
Social
Just Sue.
awkwardness.
Yeah. We've also learned that math is hard.
For Jenny.
It really is.
Sure.
And of course we've learned
Save me,
again
everyone.
that Clue is a horrible, horrible movie.
I don't believe that was on the curriculum.
That may not have
It
been.
is,
That
it
may
is
not
on
have
the
been.
curriculum. So, hey, until next time, this is us here at Gabbing Geek reminding you that with great power comes great responsibility.